Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Welcome, everyone, by the way. No, this is not opening day. Um, no, this is not the usual Sunday night crew here on a Tuesday. I got Joseph smiling through the pain as best he can, I think. I think though at the end of the day, we're both rooting for a great game, no matter what. Fair.
I'm rooting for a fantastic game, but
Okay,
I
all right.
I already hated the Cardinals to begin with. After Gallegos blew that, I hate him even more.
All right. Well, I can't. Yeah, I mean, see, the roller coaster of emotions with it is like it's really hip to dunk on Cardinals hitting for not getting hits in the playoffs, which is more than fair. So when Newbar drew the walk, I was like, awesome. My Cardinals were absolved of it, like he took a great at bat. If they don't win the game, you can't get mad at a guy that draws a walk, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, and then Gallegos just proceeded to didn't go so well.
Yeah, because once Otani hit that double, I think a part of me knew that game was over.
I'll be honest. I thought I thought we were getting some free baseball. That's what I thought we were getting. But man, you want to talk about? I guess I want to talk about. I'll ask you about this because obviously, roller coaster of emotions. I think I found myself rooting for Japan in the game just because of what we would have for this. Obviously, I know you're on the other end of that, but like I was very excited at a potential USA Japan final. Wouldn't have been mad at the other outcome, but like walk me through when Rosarena makes that catch. Like what were you feeling like in that moment where you're like, oh, we're doing it?
Yeah, I thought we were doing it because I was watching with my parents and the dog was asleep, right? And I'm one of those. I know immediately when there's a home run robbery because you will see like the ball bounce somewhere in the crowd. So the second I didn't see that ball bounce, I'm just screaming like, yes, let's fucking go. I thought we had it. My mom comes running out of the garage like, what the hell? The dog's up. My dad's just very politely clapping. I thought we had it. That is that signature moment.
It's so funny to think about. It's so funny. It's imagining like you and your parents like on the couch, like right up next to the TV, and then that happens, and just you remember that old TV show Silent Library?
I never saw that.
But do you know the premise?
No.
There's a bunch of so it's like a room of they'll invite. It'd be like Team USA Baseball is in this, and it's not actually a library, and it'd be stuff where it's like you draw like cards, you like flip over a card, and if you have to do like a forfeit or a punishment. So, and if you make too much noise, you're out. So it'd be something like you have to put like your arm on like a mouse trap, and it'll like, and if you like, depending on how loud you get, like that's what I was just envisioning Silent Library, but because your dog was asleep, like you're like, yes, like just whispering and you're like, yeah, good. They got to bring that show back. We should do it here. No, I'm not. I'm not starting. No. I did this last year when we did the 999 challenge where I floated it really early. And then I'd do that again. I don't think I would do Silent Library. I'm already too loud. And I don't think people want to watch a stream of us whispering and having awful shit happen to us.
Yeah. There's a reason why I will never go live for a Dodgers playoff game.
There are multiple people. There are multiple people that are employed at this website that won't go live for their own team. And as someone, Dodgers fan, as someone that was live for the 2021 wildcard game, what I say to you is I dealt with it. I had the worst possible thing that could happen to me live on air. So I'm just saying, if it comes down to it again,
I'm willing to monetize my pain, but like when I watch playoff baseball,
That's the ball game.
There it is.
What a shot.
That's tough. That's tough, man.
Final.
That's tough. I didn't need that. I didn't need that shown again. You know what's funny about that? People thought that I would have this very break my keyboard reaction. But that game was just so, I think you'd agree as someone else who watched that game. That game from maybe the third inning on, or what inning was it where Wainwright like caught that liner and just showed the ball to the umpire and like walked off? I think it was like the fourth inning. I was like, this game is ending with like someone's winning by 1 run. Like I was like guaranteed. Like it just had that vibe. Scherzer and Wainwright were both pitching out of their minds.
Yeah, that was a fantastic game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I was at that game. Like, oh my god, I lost my voice screaming after that Jansen strikeout to end the 9th.
Yeah.
So Taylor comes up and does that over.
Yeah, man. It like I said, didn't bounce my way, but I think the reason my reaction was like that is just part of me was like that was a good game.
Yeah, I totally get that because my girlfriend, we were watching Game 4 of the Division Series together last year. And she thought it was the funniest thing because you know how you're just like
you don't want to watch. It's so funny. Yeah.
So that entire 7th inning, she's got her phone like this, recording like every reaction I have to this, and then she starts showing our friends, specifically like when Cronenworth hit the single to put him ahead. And my friends are like, I thought you would be screaming. I'm like, no, something just died inside of me. Like, I don't know how to react.
There's so much like I don't think I've ever I'm trying to think about if there was ever Pujols 700. I was like jumping up and down. I was on the phone with my mom because I didn't know if my mom was going to watch the game or not. Like I don't know if I've told this story on air before. I know I've told it probably in Diamond Digest, like internally with us chatting. But I impulsively canceled plans to watch the game, even though he was 2 away. Part of me was just like, if he does it and I don't see it live, like, am I gonna forgive myself? And the only other time I'd ever done that was Game 6 in 2011, even though we were losing and it was like midnight and I had school and like my mom and I were both up because we were both like, if we don't watch this, if they come back and we didn't see it, we'll never forgive ourselves. So when he hit the first one, I was like, I gotta call my mom. Like, she's like, I don't know if she's watched the game, and she wasn't. And I was like, oh, it's on Apple TV, like da-da-da. She's like, oh yeah, we have that. Like, pulled the game on. And that was the only time I think I've ever like watched something in sports happen where I was not in person. I was like, I was pretty close to screaming because I was just like, there's no way that just happened.
Yeah, like even just watching the reactions of the Dodger fans, they're like, we had Pujols for like half a season and we fell in love with him.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I'd ask how do you not, but we can get Christian and Garrett on to talk about that.
Yeah, see, here's the thing, man. Like, my perception of him is even more like for you as a Dodgers fan, for you, right? And just like, obviously, as part of the territory being, you know, the other, well, one of the other Southern California teams, you probably heard a lot of the media and read all the think pieces and like saw that slow decline. I didn't see that like directly because I'm in the Midwest. So like he leaves and I'm upset. But then the Cardinals, like the next few years after, like made another World Series. Like we're still making the playoffs every year. We're still good. So it wasn't as bitter because I was like, man, like, you know, he got paid. Clearly we're still good. Oh, well. You know, and then it comes down to when he gets cut by the Angels, I was like, you can't cut him like this close to 700. Like you can't do it. And I'm like, what if the Dodgers pick him up? Because you guys felt like the only team good enough in 2021 that like could fix him. I was like, and I'll be honest, if he had played for you guys in 2022 and done it as well, I wouldn't have been mad. But like, I was just like, man, like in LA, he was like an above average hitter. Not great, but like the above average, like a guy you employ for at least the league minimum. And then he signs with us and he shows up weirdly in shape. Because I think you'll admit on the Dodgers, he definitely had like one of his nicknames is Tio. He definitely looked like an uncle. Like he looked kind of beer league, like you're the best player on your beer league softball team. You know what I'm saying? The guy that like definitely has to play first base, but can hit.
He's the guy like in that, like family softball game, you get the designated runner for.
Exactly. Yes.
He'll hit it up like a mile, but then like
Yeah.
his son's the one running the bases.
Correct. So that was the vibe he gave. And then the offseason hit, and I was looking at like the Cardinals, and the universal DH had just came out, and I was like, obviously we had Juan Yepes, Alec Burleson, we got all these guys in the Cardinals system, and I'm like Nolan Gorman. I was like, we got all these guys that could probably fight for DH spots, but I was like, Nolan Gorman was the most likely guy to get the DH job at the time, and I'm like, I know he's not great against lefties. I was like, I'm like, let's. Also, I was more than willing first year of the universal DH to be like, let's just bring him in. Let's just bring him in, because if Gorman's not ready on opening day, even if he's ready halfway through the year and pools is just league average, and then like platoons, like let's bring him in. And like he shows up, he's weirdly in shape, and then proceeded to have his worst year as a Cardinal statistically, and he still OPS'd almost 900. Like it was. My perception of him is so warped, because even at like the end, he was still like, when he was batting, I was like, oh shit, like he could hit a home run. To have that feeling last 6 months ago, crazy.
Well, I talk about like this being one of my favorite baseball memories of all time. Is like 2007, 2008. Like we used to have season tickets like at the top deck, like the very top of Dodger Stadium, right? And this guy
still season tickets though,
Yeah,
like you're
loved
like,
it. But this guy comes up to us and he's like, hey, come with us for a second. And we think we're getting kicked out of the stadium here. And it was like, ooh, you're in trouble, this and this, right? And we're like, where are we going? Like, we're freaking out to our dad. Like, where are we going? He's like, it's fine. Just come with us. You know what I mean? So we get in the elevator. We go like down, like past the reserve, past the loge, and we're on the field level all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And they just upgraded our tickets to like right behind the on deck circle.
Dude.
So, it's ninth inning, like 1-run game. And this is back when Jonathan Broxton was throwing 100 consistently. And the first batter he faces is 08 Albert Pujols.
Oh, dude. That's like watching God taking at bat, man. Oh.
It's my Bonds Gagne, like how everybody was at the dugout. I was transfixed.
Oh, that's actually a really good question. I'm trying to think about the greatest, like, in-person matchup that I've ever seen. I mean, I saw not like that Pujols Lidge moment, but I mean, when I was like back in like Busch Stadium 2, when I still lived in the St. Louis area, like I definitely saw like Brad Lidge versus Pujols. Not the one, but like that was And I'm talking like 2004, 2005, 2006, like that era of like right when Bonds was about to be on the way out. And you're sort of like, Pujols has got next. Like it just had that vibe where you're just like, I'm tired of this guy finishing second in MVP.
Yeah, I've seen Trout, Kershaw, Ohtani.
Oh, dude, that's not bad.
Yeah. I gotta find the video, but it was when he was perfect through 7 and struck out Ohtani at Angel Stadium. Like
that's killer, man.
Just had my friend record me for a second. Oh, I was going nuts, man. I thought for sure he had that one.
Kershaw is one of those guys. I think like Wainwright, a little bit to like the vibe is different with Wainwright because it's less of like Kershaw. It's more like when healthy because they pace him more.
Yeah.
But Wainwright and Kershaw just have those starts every once in a while where like you just check the box. Kershaw, it's more like 6 innings, like 11 Ks where you're like, still got it. Then the Wainwright version of that is he goes like 8 innings and strikes out like 4, and they both give up no runs. And you're like some 10-year-old has no idea. Like there are 10-year-old Cardinals fans that just can't comprehend like that. Those like Cardinals Dodgers, like NLDS, NLCS, when I feel like you and I played each other for like 3-4 years in a row in the playoffs. Those series when it was 2014 Wainwright versus 2014 Kershaw. That was,
I remember
I have dreams.
I was going to go pick up like a pizza. So I'm listening to the game in my car And you know exactly which at bat I'm talking about here. Like bases loaded. Kershaw's at like 112 pitches. And I'm like, just throw him a fucking slider, man. And then he did,
Dude.
and bases cleared.
Bro, the one that's way more improbable is the Matt Adams home run. Like, I can't believe that happened to this day. It's been 10 years. I can't believe he hit that ball. Like, we're talking about someone who is just proof of Mike Matheny's talent as a manager. But, like, he shouldn't even been in the game. Like, should not have been in the game. And, like, hindsight's 2020, and I'm sure if you were to ask, like, Matheny or, like, the bench coaches that were in the dugout in that game, like, we had a hunch. We had a hunch that he was due. You hear all those, you hear that often enough, but I was just like, yeah, I can't believe it happened. Oh,
the devil magic was whispering in his ears.
Yeah, people still bring that up, like, and I'm sure I'm going to talk more about this when we're streaming, and we're talking about regular season, and everyone that'll be on is going to get to give their vibes of, oh man, watch the cut when they cut to the stadium real quick. They got like a little bit of a light show thing going on. It looks so sweet.
Let's see. We're showing all the Trey Turner highlights. Where was this when you were with the Dodgers, sir?
I'm surprised you guys let him walk. Like, legitimately.
Well, I'm a believer in Gavin Lux.
Oh, I'm a believer in Gavin Lux at second base. That's really where I was like, just let him play second. But I'll defer. I mean, is his defense? I'll pull up his Fangraphs, but is his defense like that bad at
I think he had like one or two like outs above average at short, I want to say.
Okay. I'm not saying it's because he's bad at shortstop. It was more just like when you trade for someone, like, take it from the Cardinals fan. When you trade for the star player, you have the express intent usually of immediately extending.
Yeah, but I have one of the few that was okay with not paying Trey Turner.
Really? Let's see. Second base. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, 3 DRS, 3 OAA at second. I mean, point being is he's worked on the glove, and like he had just, I don't know. I mean, I do appreciate that you guys are actually like, it was very, so as someone that had in my fantasy dynasty baseball league, as someone that has had Gavin Stone and has also at various points had like Michael Bush and stuff, I was just so glad the Dodgers finally decided to be like, instead of paying for people, why don't we actually like, oh, we have the best farm system of anyone in baseball. Why don't we actually like play these dudes? Like, it was just all you guys have so many of these dudes that are like, Miguel Vargas is another example. Guys are like 23, 24. That it's like, please just like play them. They're ready. Like they can't, like Michael Bush is legit going to like OPS 1,000 at AAA again this year. And they're just not going to bring him up.
Yeah, but there's very, very rarely the opportunity to bring them up, especially with all those stars now. So everyone's going to get injured at some point. So finally, you're going to see what Bush has. You're going to see what Vargas has. I'm really excited.
Vargas, that's why the guy, because you guys are going Vargas at second base, right?
Yeah.
That's the experiment? Okay.
He's made some pretty good plays in the spring. It's just, can you make the routine plays consistently too?
Right, yeah. I mean, it's definitely, I think it's spring, I think is a really good sign of like, if I'm looking at guys that are like trying to like stick it at a new position or doing all that stuff, it's like you said, it's a 30-second Twitter clip, I think doesn't necessarily do it as much justice as it should. I think it's more about, because like Jordan Walker for us is a great example. Like, I really would like him to make the opening day roster. I don't know if it's going to happen, but the momentum is certainly there. But it's like you said, he's literally learning how to play like corner outfield. And I know most people that are more analytically inclined would say that, oh, you know what, if it's first base or like left field, defense doesn't really matter. And it's like, yeah, but like when you understand that if Jordan Walker plays left field, that means we're taking away Tyler O'Neill, who is legitimately like a 10 DRS left fielder, which is almost impossible to be. So I've been trying to watch as many spring games as possible when he's in the lineup just to see how he looks.
Yeah, because that's the thing is you guys have incredible defense. So
Right. And especially with the shift limits.
In a
like
vacuum, defense doesn't matter. But if you have a
Yeah.
team whose identity is based on defense, ooh, no.
I know, dude. Off the bat, there was a brief moment when I saw Mookie hit that route. I was like, I'm like, what are we gonna see?
Yeah, I was gonna say I've watched enough Mookie bets to know like when it's the good swing and when it's you just got under it.
Anytime Trout is like takes a swing, I'm like, this ball is getting planted 440 left center. Like it's every swing. It is unbelievable to watch him play.
It is like the most consistent swing like ever.
It's I was listening. I forget. I think it might have been the United States. Ooh, that'll play. Oh,
now I gotta watch this. Nope, 1-1.
Oh, here. You know what I'll do? You know what I'll do for you? Let me. Oh, is there no pause? It's only a hard stop. That is frustrating.
No, that's okay.
I could just pause it and then like wait on it, but watch this though. Well,
let's see. Drop. Ooh.
Watch this though. A little hustle double. Come on.
Wow, you still got the wheels.
Dude, I so badly want him to like in a world where the Angels either top out or bottom out. Like if the Angels are like play at like a 98 win pace this year or like a 68 win pace, I want him to just go 40-40 because he can.
Oh, he 100% can.
I know it. And that's like, I know he's doing it to probably preserve health. And there's, analytics will tell you that just stealing bases for the sake of stealing bases is not advantageous. And you need to be strategic about it if you're going to do it. But, come on, man. We're expanding the bases. Like we're trying to encourage, like, you know what I'm talking? We're talking probably limited pickoffs. Like we're setting it up here to have more stolen bases. And it's like, I want him to do it. The guy at the dish, I wanted him to steal more as well. People don't realize Paul Goldschmidt has a 30 stolen base season. He did that when he was like 28 or 29 too. He didn't do it like first year in the league.
Oh, trust me, I have seen enough Paul Goldschmidt in my life.
Oh yeah, sorry.
He ruins my life.
Nightmare.
That trade pissed me off so much. I'm like, you put the Cardinal Devil Magic with the Dodger Killer. We're never making a World Series in my lifetime.
Dude. That trade, I remember. So he was my favorite overall player when he was on the Diamondbacks. And I remember like that season, I had texted in my friend group chat that for like baseball and stuff. I've been like, I'm going to float it out there. I'm like, what if we traded for Paul Goldschmidt? I was like, because I'm like, he's due for an extension. Like if Arizona is going to like rebuild because they were really bad in like 2019 and they had, it hadn't worked out. And was it 2017? They made the wild card game. Like they were clearly going to bottom out. And I kind of said it being like, oh, haha, can you imagine if they did it? Not thinking it was real. And then when that trade happened, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. That's it. And I shouldn't speak ill of Carson Kelly. I know he got hurt today and I hope he's all right, but like, man. And this trade, the Arenado trade, that was even, the Arenado trade though, I was very like, when I first read it, I thought we were also giving them $50 million. And I was like, okay. I was like, we're giving them a lot of money, but I guess that would make sense. And then I was like, oh no, they're paying his contract. Cool. I don't understand it. Yeah, our producer is saying that the Arenado trade doesn't count. And you're right, it doesn't. It's ridiculous. If you guys can go through my Reddit history, by the way. My ultimate galaxy brain is my first ever Reddit post was in the Cardinals subreddit saying, what if we sign Nolan Arenado after the 2019 season? I posted that in like 2017. And I predicted he would get 8 for $240. And he got 8 for $255 in the extension. And then we traded for him. What did I know? What did I know, Joseph?
You're the new GM now.
Dude, listen. John Mozeliak. I can't. It's crazy. Like, I can slander him all I want, but the dude has literally never had a losing season as a GM. So, like, it's hard to. But my God, dude, he needs to just trade for pitching. Like, he just needs to do it. We just need to trade for starting pitching. Our 40-man roster is ridiculous. There was a quote from Ali Marmol where I think it was Katie Wu for The Athletic, who does our like regional athletic coverage. She literally, like she asked him, she's like, how many players do you think will get left off the opening day man roster that you think have like proven they deserve major league roster spot? And he said 8. 8. That's a third of a team. That's hypothetically an entire starting lineup. Like, please, we can trade half of that for a starting pitching.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because you don't need that to replace guys that get injured.
Right. Like, it makes sense to hold on to who's a good example? Like it makes sense. I don't want to trade like Juan Yepes because he can play first base. He can play third base. He can play left field. He could DH. Like, he's plays enough spots and he's got a major league bat where I don't want to move him. You need a corner guy. I really wish we hadn't traded Edmundo Sosa. That's the one that like bites me. It's because his front office refuses to admit that Paul DeJong is one of the worst baseball players in America. But like, in that hypothetical world, if we had just kept Edmundo Sosa, we would have had a utility bench infielder. It would have, and then outfield, but just God, dude, we have so many, like Alec Burleson. He's like our 7th outfielder and he's a top 100 prospect and he's 24. Trade him for a pitcher. We don't need him. He's not playing. Like, Lars Nootbaar, who's currently batting for Team Japan, would have to get hurt. Tyler O'Neill would have to get hurt. Dylan Carlson would have to get hurt. And Jordan Walker would have to get hurt for him to, like, play every day. Let him play.
Yeah, but what 35-plus-year-old pitcher are you guys going to ship him out for? Because that seems to be, like, his MO.
Well, and here's the thing with that, right? Like, the bones of that have been laid before. So a good example is like we traded for John Lackey in like 2015 and he pitched like, I'll pull up the stats so I'm not just spewing nonsense here, but we traded for John Lackey to pitch for us in like 2015 and I want to say he had like a 3 ERA for us, or excuse me, we traded for him in 2014. But in 2015 for us, he had a 2.77 ERA in 33 starts at 36. Like, clearly, this MO has worked for us before. Like, Quintana was great for us. Like, I've seen the vision with it. The issue is he refuses to trade for what we need, which is, like, ace. We need an absolute, like, 11K per 9 ace. And if the Brewers were not in our division, the answer would be Corbin Burns. But I don't think the Brewers would trade with us because we're in division, and that makes me sad.
Or Sandy Alcantara, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the L on the fact that it happened, period. What I will say, though, is when we were making all the trades, so when the Marlins traded their starting outfield of Ozuna, Stanton, and Yelich, we had agreed to trade for Stanton, and he vetoed, which I was like, okay. And I'm just going to assume that we got nervous and offered basically the same deal. And I would ask you, had we traded for Stanton and given up Sandy, in a vacuum, I'd have been fine with it.
Yeah, because Stanton hasn't fallen off like a cliff like Ozuna has, and he'd probably still be on the team.
And that's the other thing I was about to say. We passed on trading for Yelich, so we traded for Ozuna, which Marcell Ozuna, terrible human being. Christian Yelich, horrifically overpaid. And long term, like that, the Yelich extension has like killed the Brewers' World Series contention window. Like they're going to tank and dismantle that roster before they have a chance at winning a World Series again. Because like Do you know what his contract is?
I'm gonna say, isn't he getting? I want to say 26 million a year.
Oh, it's
At
much
least?
worse than that. It's much worse than that.
See, I was gonna say 32, but I'm like, there's no way they're giving Yelich 32.
It's 26, but he makes $26 million in 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 2028.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And in 2029, it's a mutual option for 20 mil, which we both know is gonna get the veto. But yeah, bro, that's disgusting.
Can't wait
That's
for Christian Yelich Day in 20 years.
dude, like it's I don't know if it's gonna get to like Chris Davis Orioles bad, but like that's what the vibes are gonna be. Like he just has no juice left. Like his back is just gone. But I mean, like that money, if you were that's the Corbin Burns extension, is what that should be. That's a great at bat by Ohtani, by the way.
He's got him to 3-0.
And I'll give Yelich this. He was starting to hit the ball better, and he's always had a good walk rate. But you started to hit the ball harder, but just dude, he's a 7. He slugged 383. Like he hits the ball hard, but he just can't elevate it anymore. He's 89th percentile in average exit velocity, and he slugged 383. Yuck.
Yeah. Well, I think again, hindsight being what it is,
Right.
a lot of it was the juiced ball.
I think that, for sure. But like pre-juiced ball Yelich was like honestly, like Lars Nootbaar might be a good comp. I'm going to pull up Yelich in like 2016-ish, like 2017. He is putting up like Lars Nootbaar, like under 800 OPS, but like good hitter.
Yeah. Good
defense. 2015 Christian Yelich is 782. Oh, he only hits 7 home runs. I take that back. Lars has more power, but yeah, like you look at this, like, God, that was he OPS 1100 in 2019. Wow.
Yeah. If he didn't have that injure that kneecap, he would have 2 MVPs.
Yeah, probably. But now, how's that feel, by the way? Bellinger felt like such an impossible question for the Dodgers for so long, and now it's over.
It's hard because like I have seen the Cody Bellinger that will strike out 4 times a game for a week straight. But yet I still like hold on to those memories that he's given us. You know, I did a whole thing like of just great Cody Bellinger plays. He has my favorite hit ever. But I really couldn't justify this. I remember I wrote an article saying Trace Thompson should have the center field job over Cody Bellinger before the playoffs. Because I'm like, I don't trust Belly. He is just taking up space in this lineup at this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to I could probably dig up the text, but I said this in like 2017, 2018, and I've stood by this. I understand that he is a good center fielder. He should play first base because he just gets hurt playing the outfield. It's not his fault. It's because he has the athleticism to go get the ball, and he will try to go get the ball, and he hurts himself as a result. And I mean, at this point, I think we're like way beyond the point of just like he should play first base for the Cubs and the hitting will return. But I was saying that like the first year he was like, whoa, how is he this bad again? And I was like, I think it's because he's in the outfield and he's just getting dinged up all the time. And he has to make a conscientious choice to continue to be elite defensively, even though the bat is struggling. And I just think all of that just sort of seeped into his brain. And I don't know, I feel bad for him. I want him to be good again, but now he's on the Cubs. So I hope that he is perfectly league average. That is, yeah. I hope he has really good defense. I hope he's Harrison Bader. I hope he has a slightly above average bat and a really good play good defense and then go play for another team.
For me, like what messed up Bellinger is I remember going into the 2020 season, we heard like, oh, Bellinger overhauled his swing. I'm like, dude, you just won MVP. You had one bad playoff series, and I would put you like 8th on the list of people that cost us that division series. What the hell are you doing, man?
Yeah, it didn't. And obviously, like, he was onto something because like the book on him is out. You know what I mean? Like, I watched Dodgers Cardinals games. I was watching Miles Michaelis pump 92 up and in, and he just couldn't hit the ball. So like, the game plan was clearly out on him. So I think he just proactively tried to get ahead of that. And I think that's what the Dodgers tried to do and stuff. But when you tell someone who just won MVP, hey, great work, I'm loving what I'm seeing. By the way, we here at the Los Angeles Dodgers, we've noticed a massive potential mistake and like horrible thing with your swing. Why would you tell him that? Part of me was like, I think the Dodgers, they tried to cut the tumor out before the cancer was there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's part of what I think happened. And he was like, I think people got to think about the mental aspect. Like, I think Jared Kelenick's another good example of that. Like, if you try to get ahead of something before it's a problem or before anyone else notices, obviously if it's something where it could like lead to injury, we don't know everything, but like, man, I remember reading that. I remember being like, why? Don't touch it yet. Touch it until something goes wrong.
Because I always talk about this one like to my friends and family whenever Bellinger would come up. And like, he had this one swing in Colorado, like when he had that incredible April, where Bellinger has an incredibly long swing. But he was short and quick to the ball. And it wasn't the fact that he hit a home run. It's Colorado. I could hit a home run in Denver. But he was short and quick to it. I'm like, that's the adjustment he should have been making, is get that short, quick swing as your two-strike approach, and you would have been fine.
Honestly, dude, like, I know that this is oh my God, wait for them to come back to commercial break. They're going to cut to a guy wearing a horrific shirt to look at. Also, is that moderator? Is that a Green Sword is moderator on Twitch, right?
I do not
I think it is. That's a moderator and good friend of the company, John Principe, in the chat, saying go Japan. It's really glad to know that even despite greener pastures, he's somehow retained. John, feel free to throw whatever hot takes and commentary you want. John's a Red Sox fan, so they had a very busy offseason. So I'm sure that he's chock full of opinions on how that went. But yeah, dude, what I was saying is the extreme example, I don't think he needs to do this, is like literally look at Jeff McNeil. Look how much Jeff McNeil shortens his swing up and how choked up on the bat he is. I don't think Bellinger needs to go that far, but there's a reason that Jeff McNeil won the batting title. It's because he is like, I'm not trying to hit home runs. I'm just trying to literally get the bat through the zone as fast as possible and trust that I have enough strength and timing. Boom. I'll get my hits. I'll get my extra base hits. I feel like that helped Bellinger.
Yeah, because first of all, you create so much torque with the violence in your swing. Like an extra 5-10 miles an hour is not really going to do that much for you because you're already contorting.
Well, and it's like sacrifice. People. You can sacrifice, if we're talking about maybe a max exit velo of on average, right? If he's going 93, 94, and that's down to like 90, 91 even on average, like you're fine. You're still going to hit 15 home runs. Like this is part of my, this is where like the old man baseball fan in me is like a double is great, dude. Like just hit a double in the gap. Like there's a reason you play center field every day. Like you have the legs. Like just hit a double in the gap. That's all you got to do. Especially with Wrigley with those baskets, you can hit some cheapies at Wrigley. People do not talk about that, but you can get some real cheapies at Wrigley.
Especially if the wind's blowing out too.
Yeah, exactly. We got Yoshida for not only Rookie of the Year but MVP. Who are the other? Let's take a peek at this real quick. I'm gonna look at. Let's see, AL Rookie. Oh my God, you're joking me. You're joking. Scott's not here, so I get to do it. Swing and a drive, Trey Turner. Again. He's homered.
Oh,
There he goes. There he goes.
Swing and a drive.
Kevin Kiermaier.
Dude. Like, again, no doubter. Who is this dude? The Marlins should have signed him. He'd hit 85 home runs a year.
Hold on, the pitch. Where the fuck was this, Trey?
Dude, this
This is why we didn't
nuts.
re-sign you. Jeez Louise.
Oh, that's
Whoa.
unreal, man. That is
Over Steve
unreal.
Rogers. We have a new Captain America.
Dude, this is 5th of the tournament, dude. That's crazy. Again, like that's it. I can't believe him, man. He is outrageous. Like, it's the same pitch. It's someone throws him middle. He just does what Arenado has done. Like, if you watch any Nolan Arenado Cardinals home run, it's just, I'm going to sell out pull power, left field, drop the head, bang. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, when he sees red like that, man, he knows exactly what to do.
That is sensational from him. That's truly sensational.
You know.
Oh my God. I think my B-reel from like a couple days ago was I was watching the game, it went off and he hit a home run. And I'm pretty sure I captioned it like Trey Turner, bingo. No, it's unbelievable. Back to what John said in the chat that we're looking at. I'm going to look at some presumptive AL Rookie of the Year. Let's hypothetical a little bit.
It's Gunnar Henderson.
You're taking Gunnar?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at some odds here. Wow, dude. According to BetMGM, Yoshida's plus 1,000 for AL Rookie of the Year. That's surprising. So the guys, I'll read the guys that are currently betting favorites ahead of him. As John is letting us know that he has already put $50 on Tristan Casas. I don't know what you put it at, but he's plus 900, so that might not be bad odds. So it's Gunnar plus 250, Royce Lewis plus 700, Hunter Brown plus 800, Grayson Rodriguez plus 900, Casas 900, Volpe 900, and then Yoshida's at 1,000.
If you're looking for value, it might be Volpe, because if he even has an average season, you know, like that New York machine's gonna get behind him. Like he's the. I was gonna say,
Jeter, I think the Casas might be the value one though, because like if you just hit enough home runs, like you could win Rookie of the Year. Like, because Casas could hit 35 homers. If he hits 35 homers, he's winning Rookie of the Year. I don't know what his Fangraphs projection is, but like, as long as they don't try Bobby Dahlbeck at first base again for no reason. Not no reason, but like if this dude just plays first base every day, I'm pulling up his Fangraphs projection. I'm not even looking up National League because it's Jordan Walker. And if you bet on anyone else, I can't help you, dude. Like, you need to watch Jordan Walker play baseball. It is unbelievable to watch him hit. He's one of the largest human beings I've ever seen. Do you know what he's listed at? He's 20. Do you know what he's listed at height and weight?
6'8", 290?
I wish, but he's like 6'7", 260.
Ooh.
Dude, he was 235 at the start of last season. He grew into 260. He's not, you look at a picture of him, it's not water weight. Like that is not.
That is very late puberty.
Okay, Fangraphs is convinced that Casas is only hitting like 20 homers, but they also think he's only playing 120 games. So maybe more 25 to 30 is his range, but even then, he could do it.
Yeah, everyday first baseman by May, he's got a good shot.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and also just like, I don't know, park factor. Like Fenway's a little quirky, but like if you've got raw power like that, like you'll find a way to hit home runs in Fenway. Like you will find a way. Mullins looks great with the dreadlocks, by the way. They showed him pregame during the anthem and stuff. He's got great hair.
Yeah. He's got like that little bit of that Andrew McCutcheon. Like
he does.
I love
he
Cutch
does.
with the dreadlocks.
Dude, I am so beyond. For those of you that don't know, obviously I'm a Cardinals fan, and I openly root against the success of 3 of the other 4 teams in my division. I would like to live in a world in which the Pirates only lose every game they play to the Cardinals, and that's it. Like that would be my dream. My dream, like NL Central, would be that every year. I love the Pirates. They got to have a beautiful ballpark. I have family that are Pirates fans. I got friends that are Pirates fans, and they just got gorgeous uniforms, a gorgeous ballpark. It's hard to root against the Pirates. I think you'd agree, Joseph. It's hard to dislike the Pirates.
Oh man, like just not only because they're the lovable losers, but PNC Park. I've had friends that have gone and say like it is better than Dodger Stadium, and it takes a lot for a Dodgers fan to say that.
I would agree. I got a friend, she's getting her PhD at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh, and I put her on to the how every team has, and there's a different name for everyone, but it's like, oh, if you spend like $40, you get like tickets to like all 8 home games for the month.
Yeah.
Every team has a different like name for it. I'm blank. I don't know what the Pirates one is, but she's not like a huge baseball fan, but a live event she's more of like a college hoops fan, but she like got the ticket package and just basically went to all the games where they have like free promotions. So she got like a bunch of like free t-shirts and stuff. She's like, this place is awesome. She's like, I spent like $4. I just get to hang out here and like drink a beer and then go home. I was like, yeah. I'm like, that you're just explaining why it's fun to go to a baseball game to me. But yeah, like it's fantastic.
Yeah. Meanwhile, or granted, two totally different markets, but I spent, I think, just to go to 2 games, like $120.
Yeah. So, don't do this, everyone. Only buy tickets for the seats that you purchased for. I am not advocating for what I'm about to say that I definitely told someone or definitely did not tell someone to do. Because it's the Pirates. Those games are not at capacity. They never are. So she bought that ticket package because it's like the standing room only. And I was like, then just go sit in the outfield bleachers, like, or as close to home plate as you want. But like, you could sit front row in like left field. No security guard is gonna be like, excuse me, can I see your ticket? You know what I mean? If you move up into the like $50 ticket range, nobody's saying anything.
And again, I'm not saying this is me, but I have friends that
Yes,
in
of
late
course.
August and September buy tickets for sometimes as low as $1.
Exactly.
And somehow make their way down to the field level.
I'll put it this way. If you're ever nervous about moving up at a sporting event where it's clearly not at capacity, obviously don't take someone's seat. I'm not advocating for you, getting in an argument with a stranger. Oh my. Oh, watch this pitch, and I want you to tell me what your immediate reaction is when Betts makes contact.
Okay. This is probably my last at bat because I'm like 15 minutes late to where I'm supposed to be.
I'm so sorry. Thank you for staying a little longer, but
let's see. Nope, they're still showing the guys warming up in the bullpen. I really want Ohtani and Trout game on the line tonight.
I know.
I'm going to Staples Center to watch basketball, and if that's close, I'm not watching the game. I am watching. Oh, that's gone.
Right?
Damn.
Off the bat, though, right? It sure looked like it. It looked gone off the bat.
All right.
That's annoying.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for chatting.
Let's
Enjoy.
go, America. Hopefully, we see Ohtani pitch tonight.
That's what we're looking for. Safe travels. Enjoy. Take care of yourself, man.
Let's see who the next revolving guest is. Bye.
I know, we'll find out. Peace. Yeah, so that's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen, viewers. I've gotten on my soapbox. I've gotten on my, you guys should show up. You guys should be here. But it's a Tuesday. People have lives. Well, some people have lives. I'm a loser that gets to sit here and watch a baseball game and talk to a camera for now. Our producer is lurking, so he might feed me things to get upset over or get hype about. I won't lie as well, guys, in our broadcast studio, when there's like the more people that there are, obviously, it has to make room on this. You guys have all had a video conference before. Your face gets smaller. There's something a little I don't know if intrusive is the word to use, maybe a little humbling about having just your face on the screen. It's very, I don't know. It's like, you didn't get a good night's sleep, did you? That's actually not true. That's just hilarious. For those of you that have watched for the longest amount of time, I just constantly look like I'm fresh off a 36-hour bender. I could sleep for 16 hours straight, and it'll be mid-afternoon, evening, and I'll be yawning up a storm. I don't know if John is still here, by the way. I'm drinking an RC Cola tonight, which I think is Canadian. So shout out to John. Actually, a really funny story about John and I that I will tell. This is hilarious because my producer's probably sweating because he knows who John and I are. And stories that usually involve John and I are less than family friendly. I'll leave it at that. Oh my, that ball is absolutely demolished. Wow. Oh my goodness. Munetake Murakami is clutch. Merrill Kelly just got, I can't even say it. I can't look myself in the eyes and say what had just happened to Merrill Kelly. We had a tie ball game though. Wow. That was a bomb. Second deck in Lone Depot. No doubt about it. Man. Brand new ball game. Bottom of second, man. Come on. Ooh, they got to show me this again. I will gladly talk anyone through this. I mean, that was just, wow, that was crushed. No replay, which is a little frustrating. That's one thing actually with the viewing experience. There's been a lot of discussion about the rule changes and people talking about the differences with the pitch clock. Here we go. Oh, dude, I mean, he's just middle, and he just unloads. Wow. Back to what I was saying, though. That's something when we talk about the viewing experience of the game. I'm wholeheartedly a proponent of having a pitch clock. I think that the World Baseball Classic, while it's been an incredible television product to watch, has been a really good direct means of comparison for Major League Baseball fans to be able to watch and see what it's been like to not have one for the longest time. I say longest time, but to not have one because the time in between pitches and in between at-bats, I mean, you guys just heard me say, there's no replay. Pitch clock, that's not going to be a thing. People got to get in the box. We got to get going. It is fantastic, though, to be able to know that a baseball game is starting and know that it'll be done in under 3 hours. Or it'll be like just over 3, and that's if I'm getting an absolute treat of a ball game. So, I mean, I understand people that have reservations about the pitch clock. I understand the concept behind treating it as this sort of, I don't know if therapeutic is the right word to use, but almost like a spa day. You get to go, kick your feet up, put the radio on, put the TV on, make yourself a little lunch, make yourself a little dinner, enjoy the game, unwind. I get that. I mean, I still think that will happen because it's a game that you and I both love and enjoy. But it is nice to know that it's not going to be the only thing. Like the ability for me now to be able to bake in, like getting to watch the Cardinals play or watch any game that I want to and know that let's say I want to watch Angels Mariners at later because I live in the Midwest and they're West Coast start time. The games aren't going to overlap. I'm not going to miss something. Like I'm not going to miss Ohtani first inning go 450 dead center. I'm going to get to be able to watch that. And that's nice. So I just think it's the ability for the more hardcore fans like myself to watch multiple games a day if they want, or be able to bake that into a little bit more of a busier day. And I think it's also going to help the casual fan, given that a lot of the things that we've talked about that they're going to implement, like not having the pitch clock actually within viewing distance on the screen, like in the park. I think the more casual fan is just going to appreciate the pace in which the game is being played at. And they're going to be talking about it, but I think by midseason, after everybody makes the adjustments, I don't think it's going to be something that too many people have a complaint about. And honestly, like, take it from someone who had reservations about a universal DH because, I grew up a National League fan my whole life. You get to about midway through the season and, you notice that there's still a lot of strategy, still a lot of lineup flexibility, defensive positioning, all those things that you really appreciate, that chess versus checkers mentality that the National League, I think, always sort of held. It's lessened, and it's lessened to an extent where it didn't impact my experience as a fan. And so I think similarly, if you're somebody who has those reservations, my producer said, man is in 1980 talking about National League fan. No, you get what I'm saying though, right? Like the double switch, like there's a lot less like sack bunts, like all those types of things. Like that element of the game did go away a little bit. So like I said, if you're somebody who had that sort of has that similar feeling or similar profile to myself when it comes to something like the pitch clock, give it to about midseason and, let us know where you're at. Like I'm not going to be mad. Someone wants to get in my Twitter mentions and tell me I'm wrong and we have a little chat over it. I'm not going to be mad because guess what? That's people talking about baseball on my Twitter timeline. And I have a real vested interest in making sure I continue to see that. So, yeah, it should be a good time. Back to my original point though, that I left in 5 to 10 minutes ago, the John Principe story. So this is back at the start of 2022. And my family was like, where should we go on like a family vacation? We hadn't been on, obviously, because we're responsible people. We hadn't gone on really like a family trip and really done a lot of stuff since COVID. It'd been 3 or 4 years since we had gone on a vacation, which is like, I think a normal amount of time for you to go on vacation. Not go for 3-4 years. I mean, every few years or so you take a trip. And my mom was just like, let's just go to Disney World. Let's just go, we'll go to this fun place where sort of we can have our day sort of planned out for us. And we don't have to worry about where to find good food or like, what should we do for entertainment? Like there's a roller coaster right in front of us. And we're a bit of a theme park family. So, I like going fast. I like, doing the loops and who doesn't like going on roller coasters? So we're there. And for those of you that don't know, at Walt Disney World, one of the parks is called Epcot. And at the back, they have something called the World Showcase. It's just really cool. They have pavilions from countries all over the world. They have a college internship program where they actually have people from those countries working there. So if you go to China, for example, you'll have college students, people our age that are from China. Super cool. Well, we're eating in Canada, and our good friend John is Canadian. And so I just shot him a text and I was like, hey man, like if I were to get like a Canadian beer or something, like what would you recommend? Hello, Jill, on YouTube, by the way. I'm telling a story about my friend recommending me a beer that was really good. So if you're over 21, keep your ears perked. And he hit me up, he hit me back and he was like, yeah, I like blank. And the other one he said was Labatt Blue, which I had, and it was very, very good. So it just reminded me because I'm having an RC Cola, which is a Canadian soda, but I guess I'm giving an endorsement for Canadian beverages because those that I've had have done me right. So if you're over 21, Labatt Blue, check it out. Give it a drink. That's actually, I'll make that my this week's sponsored but not willing to be, or excuse me, not sponsored but willing to be. I'll make that Labatt. Why not? I'll shill. If you're under 21, drink an RC Cola. They're pretty good. We're in a little bit of trouble here. We're not allowed to do play-by-play, by the way. For those that might be checking us out for the first time, hey, thank you. Stick around. Normally, there's way more people, and I try to do a little bit more listening. We've had one guest tonight. We should have at least one more, potentially two. I'm doing my due diligence. but I'm not allowed to do like direct play-by-play. There's a reason that you see my handsome face and not the game as well. We're simulcasting, but we're definitely in a little bit of trouble here. There's a couple runners on, and the bases are now loaded actually with that 3-2. So I was concerned when Team USA hired Mark DeRosa. I understand that managing on a yes, thank you. Emphasis on try indeed. Don't go nuts. I had concerns when DeRosa got hired. I understand that it's kind of typical like Yadi Molina for Puerto Rico. You want to go for somebody who you're trying to make a vibes play or whatever, and I was fine with that. But I wanted someone like Ken Griffey Jr. sitting there. Got Andy Pettit also on this coaching staff, and I think I just wanted someone with a little bit more pedigree. Doesn't have to be in managing necessarily, but I think as a player as well. That's no disrespect. I mean, Mark DeRosa you play in the league long enough as DeRosa has. You're not doing that because you're, horrible. So Merrill Kelly's already getting taken out of this game. I agree with it, obviously, in the moment, but my complaint is I did not care for having Miles Michaelis piggyback Wainwright in the semifinal game, especially with how the score was going. I understand that, you need to make you need to make the championship. And if you tell someone who's typically a starting pitcher that, hey, you're going to throw 65 pitches tonight, no matter what. So starting pitchers are creatures of habit. There's going to be that ramp up period. They're going to have to that's a mental preparation. I really wish it had been Merrill Kelly. And I know I'm a Cardinals fan. So this is not coming off me being like Miles Michaelis, this absolute ace compared to little old Merrill Kelly. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is that Miles Michaelis has made 2 All-Star games and Merrill Kelly has not. So regardless, and I understand, bit of a popularity contest. Sure, I would counter with how popular is Miles Michaelis on the national stage? Not very. But the important thing that I want to talk about that is that for those of you that don't know, Miles Michaelis' career he used to pitch in Japan. So, I mean, I don't know. I didn't dive deep enough into the data, and maybe I should have for me to be giving this take live on the internet. Managers in the World Baseball Classic are handcuffed by Major League Baseball teams. That's fair. That is completely fair. And I'm not saying that that's fair. DeRosa wasn't Caesar about it. What I would say, though, is what I'm proposing, I guess, is that I would have, let's say the plan was Michaelis is going to throw 3 innings no matter what. And that's the last time you're getting him to pitch. I would be more than comfortable, as I'm saying, as a Cardinals fan, have him do it in the championship game. Because if the question is, ramp up for opening day, we don't know if we could name Jack Flaherty the opening day starter, and I wouldn't be that mad. So I guess I'm volunteering Cardinals pitchers for a tougher start to the season, maybe. But I'd be fine with it. I just find it a little bit. I find it questionable, and that is a good point. That he is definitely has to answer to the powers that be. That's more than fair, but I just wish we had, we should have planned for him being in the championship game, right? Isn't that what you do? Do you think Japan wasn't doing that? Do you think that Mexico wasn't planning on doing that? I would have liked to have seen that. But again, like I said, I do also wish maybe I guess I just want a more famous manager, which is a little, maybe that's just silly. Are we attempting a bunt here with Newbar? I love it. I love a little small ball in my life. Man, Merrill Kelly looks upset. And I get also, like, it's not entirely on DeRosa. There was a lot of conversations to be had with there was a lot of pitchers that couldn't get the insurance required, couldn't get first of all, our producer is putting apologies out already. Listen, I'll say this. Lars Newbar has gained over 600,000 Instagram followers on since the start of the WBC. Productive out. That's a quab. I will give him my claps because Newbar, it's a productive at-bat. Looking good on the national stage. It's not great, but he scores a run. Good for him. Lars Newbar is becoming an international icon. I have seen there are children in Japan on the playgrounds. I've seen kids are posting videos doing the pepper grinder. I'm not doing it on camera because I don't trust you, the audience. I don't trust the people that we work for to not clip that. Even they know the context, but you know. I saw somebody in the, forgive my ignorance, I do not know the formal name of the Japanese soccer league, but there was somebody who scored a goal in that. He did the pepper grinder celebration. It's becoming a thing. Lars Newbar has one of the lowest GPAs in the whole league. Did you go to college with him? He went to USC. So even if he did, you know what I mean? If you're going to have a bad GPA at USC, it's not quite as prestigious, but it's like having a bad GPA at Harvard. You know, you still went there. Oh, we're not a Lars Newbar fan. Listen, I don't know what your means of talent evaluation is for baseball, but if you go to, even BREF is nice to him. And I know that kind of shows the more surface level stuff. If you go to his Fangraphs, you go to his Savant, there's a lot of stuff to like. I mean, I think one of the biggest endorsements of Newbar, if you want to talk about from a talent perspective, it's easy for somebody like me to get on Twitter. I think the baseball community is kind of making fun of Cardinals fans for doing this a little bit. We've been doing it for about a year and a half, but we're just kind of starting to get a little hate for it. We've been screaming from the rooftops the Lars Newbar praise. But I think if you want to talk about from a professional, like legitimate baseball knowledge standpoint, the belief that the Cardinals have is I look at the Harrison Bader trade. Like clearly we were in the market at the deadline to acquire a starting pitcher. And you know what that's going to take, right? Like, you know what the asking price is around the league. You know, it's a very well-kept secret, I'm sure, amongst front offices. And we made the choice to trade Harrison Bader. We didn't trade Dylan Carlson. We didn't trade Tyler O'Neill. And we didn't trade Lars Newbar. So that means that there was a conscientious decision that was made with the Cardinals front office of, we're going to move Carlson to center field. It's going to open up right field for Newbar. It's going to give him a chance to prove himself. And I think that was also done with the explicit intention of the fact that we're going to be giving Jordan Walker an opportunity in the outfield as well. So if Newbar had started the second half and it had been fine or even below average or just frankly bad, he's a plus glove and he'd have been just like a bench outfielder and played all three outfield spots, and that would have been fine. But I think to his credit and to my heavy enjoyment, he flourished in a full-time role. And you go on his Savant, and he has incredible play discipline. He hits the ball really hard. Like I already mentioned, he's got a plus glove. And he really turned it on in the second half when he was given full-time starting opportunities. So he's definitely someone that I've got my eye on as someone that I like for 2023. I don't think we're talking about, I'm not going to sit here and say that guy, that he's going to win MVP. But I will sit here and I will say that, what do you have in F4 last year? I want to say around 2.5 F4 in about 100 games, but I was only in about 350 plate appearances. I don't think it's implausible to say you could have a 4-WAR season, which, again, when this gets clipped and put out later, I'm not guaranteeing that. What I am saying is it's possible. He's got the skill set. He's on a team that's going to give him the opportunities. And I just like him. You listen to him in the interviews, you've seen it. Like, there's a reason he's becoming a little bit of a World Baseball Classic darling. He's a good guy. He's really funny. So I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him big time. Again, I'm wearing a Cardinals hat. That's Busch Stadium 3. Like, I'm not, not the most unbiased guy in the world to ask about him, but I try my best to be objective about the legitimate ceilings of Cardinals players. I think when it comes to team performance, I might, a little bit more bias might be in there. But I think when it comes to individual player talent, I think I have a fairly even-keeled interpretation of how I think players are going to perform. Yeah, I won't make this just the Cardinals hour because we do have a good game going on. Yes, my producer just explicitly mentioned Paul DeYoung, who I think is, I said on air 30 minutes ago, he's he's a very nice person. He's a very nice person. He has been put in a situation to get eaten alive by the fan base. And you could say, well, part of that's his fault because of on-field performance. Sure. He got that extension really, really early in his career. It's not a crazy. It's like 8-9 mil, but that's a big for a guy that's for sure going to be a bench bat that has a good glove. That's a lot of money. Like, we paid Corey Dickerson $3 million, I think, last year. Or was it 5? Either 3 or 5. And I love the Corey Dickerson signing because that's a guy that has a little bit of a plus glove, a little, and is a good hitter and can play left field or right field or maybe center field. We paid him 3, and we're paying a guy triple that to be a much worse hitter. Somebody in the chat said, but bad player last 2 seasons. Friend, it's not just the last 2. Or if you're talking about Dickerson. He was league average. I'm actually going to look that up now. I don't remember. I'm fairly confident Dickerson had an OPS over 700 last year. Oh, 698. But that's a 100 OPS plus. League average. But again, $3 million for league average. You could be paying a lot more for league average. But yeah, Paul DeYoung is just, again, he's been put in a really unfortunate spot by the organization. And just, that is one of my biggest critiques of John Mozeliak as a GM is there have been instances in which he gives up on guys a little early. Adolis Garcia, Randy Arozarena, when it comes to position players. We can talk about Sandy Alcantara, Zach Gallen. Yes, they had a cup of coffee. I guess Randy did too, but I think one of my biggest knocks on Mozeliak as a GM is when it comes to position players, he typically gives up on them too early. And we've made this one very noteworthy exception for a guy that's not very good and hasn't been. Objectively, just hasn't been. You look at when he came up, I think he's a perfect example of a juice ball guy because he came up, I believe, in 2017 was his rookie year, which is the first year of the juice ball. So it's unfortunate. I am glad that it's a team option at the end of this year because that's getting declined. Would I sign him for a mil and a half to be on the bench if we don't have a guy to do that? Yeah, but we have guys to do that next year. So, I know he's injured right now. I am wishing him the best for a speedy recovery. I hope his mental health is where it needs to be. I don't want to come across I really don't like him, but the juice ball for sure peaked in 2019. So if you look at his numbers, thank you for bringing that up. So he comes into the league and he has a pretty good year, offensively, defensively. We know his value, obviously. So he comes in 2017 rookie year, 108 games, OPS is 850 with 25 bombs. Finishes second in rookie of the year. Great. Next year, same deal, same sample size. OPS drops down to 750. Ew. But plus defense, 20 homers, you take it. 2019, you're talking about peak juice ball. He hit 30 homers with a 760 OPS. And then 2020, it just fell off a cliff. 2021 fell off a cliff. We're talking an OPS in the 670s. And then, like, this is unbelievable. I'm going to read you guys this triple slash line. And I'm not going to get on here and say that I could do this at the major league level, but pretty close. Triple slash of 157, 245, 286. Gross. So I think the nicest thing that I would say about Paul DeJong is I am glad that we played him just enough in 2022 for him to get 100 career home runs. So good for him. It's a nice milestone that not everyone can say that they've hit. I think his time is up. I mean, you just look at this roster. You look at the Cardinals roster. There's no room. Like Mason Wynn is coming. And that's going to push Edman back to second, which pushes Donovan into the utility bench role, which I think serves him best. Oh, don't ring him up. Yeah, good call, Blue. He just doesn't have a spot. And I'm not paying $10 million to a guy that's bad, let alone a guy without a spot. Do we really count the 2020 season in general? I think this is a very common NBA take, which I love. I do enjoy the conversation surrounding the 2020 season. I think where I would discredit, I shouldn't say discredit, where I am more hesitant on the 2020 season when it comes to individual accolades. And the reason that I am hesitant to be a little bit more hesitant towards the individual accolades is because of the fact that I don't think that it's fair to give someone something as prestigious as an MVP or a Cy Young. I think you could have done Rookie of the Years. I'd have been fine with that. I think if you had done Rookie of the Years, if you had done you could still do Gold Gloves, but like you look at Evan White won a Gold Glove for the Mariners in 2020. And like our audience is a very baseball inclined audience. You know, I'm not sitting here, saying you guys don't know who Evan White is? Ha ha ha. But like some of you might not. And I'm not holding it against you. Like you should not in a million years know who Evan White is. Like if you're a Mariners fan, sorry, I know a producer enjoys Mariners baseball, but like that guy won a Gold Glove in 2020. It's a little questionable. The awards are a little questionable. I think it was fine to give them out though, because like you still need to acknowledge it. And for some guys, the reason I was fine doing that is I know that I always try to be pro player above all, right? Owners are all billionaires. Gross. Like support the players always. And the reason that I say that they should have done most of the individual awards is there are guys. Who's a good example? I named Tommy Edman earlier. I'll use Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman is never winning MVP. I hope he proves me wrong. Go for it, King. But I don't think he's going to win MVP ever. He is the kind of guy that when he signs an extension or in his current agreement with the Cardinals, I believe he's in arbitration right now. He's the kind of guy that we're talking about a guy that might only be making after taxes like less than $1 million, right? So when you're in and I understand like for us, right? You're talking about, it's still a lot of money, of course, but in comparison to the players, not so much. He's the kind of person where that extra $50,000 or that extra $100,000 bonus for winning a Gold Glove, that's very meaningful to his career. So that's why I think those like very like Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, I think they should have given those awards out still. MVP and Cy Young is a little bit of a different story because if you go back, you guys are all baseball fans. I want you to go back and think about who would you have given MVP to on Memorial Day weekend in 2022, Memorial Day weekend in 2021. there are going to be years, obviously, where that answer is the same, right? It's the same guy. But when you have MVP races where somebody comes on late or, they lift their team to the playoffs and, they maybe pass somebody for total war and the F war on the last 2 weeks of the season. When you have MVP races like that, like that's over a 162 game stretch, and it speaks to their resilience, talent, and ability to do that over why we love baseball, because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. I just think it's a little disingenuous to give a guy an MVP or a Cy Young over a 55-game sample. Also, one of the people that won Cy Young in 2020 is one of the most disgusting people alive. So I'm all for slandering those awards that year. Now, I won't slander Jose Abreu. I hope he does well in Houston. I do like Jose Abreu, and that's a product of growing up in the Chicago suburbs and having White Sox fans for friends that talked me up on Abreu for the longest time. And it's not that I was discrediting him, but sometimes it's nice to have players like that exist that you're it's nice to root for, like auxiliary players, I guess. I think Mookie Betts is a good example. Like I love just like rooting for Mookie Betts to succeed. Like the fact that he just is also an amazing bowler, that's awesome. I hope he does amazing every year. It doesn't hurt me. Now come playoff time when the Cardinals and Dodgers are in a series, I'm not going to be rooting for him, but I don't root against him. It's a big moment here. I know it's a third inning, but like this matters. Turner's red hot. You're down a run. You get a base hit here. This game is tied. So this Trey Turner does make me nervous as a Cardinals fan. Okay, we already got got upset by the Phillies in the playoffs last year, and I think I was a little quick. I'll admit already before the season starts, it was definitely a little quick on the gun to write off the Phillies for this year as a playoff team. As he punches out, that is tough. It's a great pitch though. It's a little quick to write him off, I think, as being like, oh, they're not going back to the playoffs. Like, like, oh, look at the run that they had to play on. Like, I was very skeptical. And they signed Trey Young. They signed Trey Turner, and now Trey Turner's hitting like this. And obviously, like, correlation. It's the same as me being like, oh, he's having a really good spring. But, like, there is a little bit of a difference, I think, because we're talking about somebody who's very meaningful at bats that he's doing really well. And I'm just a little nervous over it, but could be worse. Could be worse. I was about to name drop a team. It could be worse. It could be a blank fan, but I don't want to do that. It's just every year I go in and I try to do as little hating as possible. Try to do as little hating as possible on teams and players. And usually throughout the year, there'll be one guy on my team that emerges that becomes like the scapegoat of like, this guy's holding us back. He's got to do better. I don't know. Like, I'm not one of those people that like, I'm not in individual players' DMs. I try not to tweet about individual players. But I'm nervous. I'm nervous about the Phillies a little bit. I don't think they're going to win the World Series, but I'm nervous in the sense of like, that's competition. As a team, we're going to be facing the playoffs or could potentially. And they're like the anti-us. I don't dislike okay. If you follow us on TikTok, I was really adamant. I thought a guest that we had for 20 questions was Justice Sheffield. I don't dislike Justice Sheffield. I was exasperated. It may come across like I dislike Justice Sheffield. I don't. I want to make that abundantly clear. You can clip it if you don't believe me, but I don't dislike Justice Sheffield. It takes a lot for me to genuinely dislike a player. Like, well, if you play for the Reds or the Brewers, you got a good chance. You have a very good chance. I got a dad and a sister that are Cubs fans, so I don't think I have like immense hatred for the individual players. I just like the fan base immensely. But there are a couple exceptions to that. I should say a few. I got a lot of friends that are Cubs fans as well, but I'm trying to think. It's really just the Mets as well. I'll get my mom on here. If I will tell the viewing audience flat out, if I put my mom in front of this camera, she's 3 hours away. If I were to put my mom on this camera right now, she put these headphones on, and I said, I'm going to leave you alone for 5 minutes to talk about the Mets, this channel would get banned within that 5-minute window. Guaranteed. It's not that my mom has awful things to say all the time. I just mean that she will slew the Mets into the ground, given even a remote chance. I've proven it on air before. Like, I believe the exact quote is I texted her during a broadcast and I said, "Oh, what are your thoughts on the Mets?" And I'm paraphrasing slightly, but only slightly. I believe her exact quote was something along the lines of, "What a utter garbage organization, classless fans, and dirty players." Is she projecting from the 80s when they were a way bigger rival from the Cardinals? 100%. Is it insanely funny that my mom feels that way? Yes. So I love to talk about it. For those of you that don't know, like I don't know if either anyone has parents like this. Like I have the kind of mom that thinks it's rude to boo. Like if I were to boo at a sporting event, like that's not right. You don't do that. And it's like, okay, what about the Mets? You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's a small stuff. It's a small stuff as a sports fan that keeps you coming back to the well, Oh, my goodness. Kyle Freeland. This is what I'm talking about. We had no one better. No one better. I mean, don't get me wrong. This guy was nuts. What was that, 2018, 2017? He had a year in Coors with a live ball. He had a year for sure, but oh, man. We gotta do something, man. We gotta do something. If you guys catch me going quiet, please know that it's because I'm used to either having other people in my one ear fill in the void, but it's also just because baseball just horse blinders me. We have some stuff in chat. Let me get to that. I'm so sorry. Since they gave out MVP and Cy Young, 20, Darvish should have won National League Cy Young. Let me look that up. I'm going to look it up. I'm not saying that you don't know what you're talking about. I just don't want to give I don't know what I'm talking about quite yet. And I don't want to give a uninformed take. Let's take a peek here. So we're talking, you said National League Cy Young. It would have been justifiable. It would have been justifiable. If you're saying that had they played a full season, he would have won, I will agree with that take, actually. Man. That Kyle Lewis year. You guys know that clip of Vince McMahon where he goes, he was special. That's Kyle Lewis 2020, dude. My goodness. 1.6 B war, R war, whatever you want to call it. And a 60-game sample? That's outrageous. Ooh, Luis Robert had more. Yeah, well, who's got the extension in like a major league career in 3 years? I think I'd rather have that than the 2020 AL Rookie of the Year. See, there's a good example right there. That is like an accidental stray to Kyle Lewis. No. I hope he does well on the Diamondbacks, actually. I thought that was a really interesting acquisition. They're an interesting team. Like, I could talk about the D-backs for quite a while. well, first of all, they fascinate me, like as an organization. Because they have such. I'm sorry, Peyton. If you hear me apologize to Peyton, that's our producer behind. He is the guy making electricity out of me running on this hamster wheel. He's a Yankees fan, so I apologize. You guys have enough. They won that World Series, and it was just so like, what's going to happen here? Like the Marlins had won one, and then 4 years later, the Diamondbacks won one, and then 2 years later, the Marlins won again. It's like, well, these expansion teams. And 4 years after that, the Rockies were in one. Weird time for baseball. Weird 10-year window where four of the World Series appearances by National League teams were by the 3 most recent ones. That's crazy. But I felt like they had such a good thing in that mid 2010s. One moment here. I'm going to pull up for everybody. We're going to look at the roster resource on FanGraphs, which is a great tool, by the way. If you ever want to prove a friend wrong about who's going to be starting and who won't be to start a season. I'm trying to look at their lineup this year. I mean, like at top 3, Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Jake McCarthy. Jake McCarthy's super underrated. Christian Walker can hit the ball. You got Rojas, Gurriel, Thomas, Moreno, Nick Ahmed. You got Longoria in the mix there. You got Kyle Lewis in the mix there for ABs. It's a very interesting lineup. And they have some really interesting starting pitching as well. Like I love Brandon Pfaadt. I don't love Tommy Henry. Oh, they got another dude. I'm blanking on his name. But there's pieces there. It's just they're in the NL West, which not their fault. That's a tough sell, though. It's a tough sell on them having like an Orioles 2022, but it's a good team. It's a very good team. I'm like nervous. I'm nervous to give takes sometimes when there's nobody else here, because it at least allows me to like deflect, or maybe allows me to like backpedal a little bit if I say something and I see 3 people's eyes like, you know what I mean? I'll give the take though and say that I did like the trade that they made. I think Varsho's a great player, but I really do like Moreno. I'm a sucker for a catching prospect. Look at that. The ghost of Scott Bentley just filled the void there. But I love a good catching prospect. I think they're fascinating. And Moreno is this like incredible example of such a good hitter without being without sacrificing a ton on defense. It moves me. And like I said, I feel bad for Carson Kelly. I hope he's okay. Get healthy, King. But I am very intrigued by Moreno getting like 100+ starts behind the dish. Like that's going to be super fun to watch. Now, Mullins certainly just hit that ball high enough to be a home run. Unfortunately, parked it in the dugout. They just showed the sand and stuff. Did we know? I have not looked behind the dish. Is the Marlins man here? I have a second monitor as well, guys. So if you see me here, it's what I'm looking at. I debate all the time flipping it, but typically when there are other people, I feel like I need to be making eye contact where people are talking to me, even though that's eye contact. Strange, I know, but we're rolling with the punches tonight, But yeah, I don't see Marlins man behind home plate, which is questionable. Whoa, that's paint. That's paint. Oh my gosh. One of my friends, she was really excited about watching the WBC tonight. She had like a practicum for her master's, but it got canceled. So she's getting to watch like the back half. That's why I apologize. I was looking down. It was Unbelievable. Dude, you know, talk about guys you just root for? Tim Anderson. Oh, I love Tim Anderson. Oh, Mullins. Gosh darn it. I love Tim Anderson, though. Tim Anderson is, I don't know how to describe it, but sometimes we're all baseball fans. I'm sure that sometimes we just have this innate feeling of just, you watch it. Cedric Mullins, another good example. Like, you just watch a guy play and you're like, I just want this guy to succeed. I just want him to win, and I want him to do well. And I have that feeling just so deeply rooted inside me about Tim Anderson. I don't know why. I think it's because he just outperforms BABIP like really well every year. Like his BABIP should be unsustainable. Altuve is another example of this. You look at his batting average on balls in play, and this is way higher than what his batting average is. This can't be sustainable. He can't do this every year. And he just does. Like, he just does it every year. I love a guy that defies logic in fun ways like that. I love a guy that beats peripherals. Those are always fun. You do it for 1 year, it's a little precarious. You do it for 2, you do it for 3, you do it for as long as he has, not bad. Goodness. It's always when you're by yourself, you can see yourself looking down. And you don't appreciate that. A little TLC, taking care of business. I also did tell my mom that I talked about her on air. I won't lie. I'll be completely honest with the viewership here. I tell my mom every time. So I'm going to have to tell her that as well. I didn't say anything bad. It's more just, like doing it. What am I looking at here? That commercial for the Logan Paul drink? It is. That's a weird. I'm not getting into the weeds of that. If you know what that dude did, you know what he did. I'll leave it there. Man, I did not realize the other thing. For those of you that like sports in general, right? Great examples of sports that don't do what the United States loves to do with primetime sporting events are like soccer, Formula One. Those are two examples of sports that when they tell you what time to start watching it on television, it's because that's when it starts. And I know that's the WBC, and I think the pregame ceremonies, they were super cool. That's awesome. Have those start. Tell me to turn the TV on at 5:30 for the pregame ceremonies, and then have the game start at 6. Don't tell me to turn the TV on at 6 and then have 30 minutes before the game starts. If you tell me to tune in at 5:30 for all the fun stuff like that, I want to watch. I want to hear the Japanese national anthem. I want to see Ohtani with a big flag in his hands. I want to see Trout come out with a big flag in his hands. That's cool. That's awesome. I want to see that. But don't tell me the game starts at 6. Don't tell me the game starts at 6 if that's what we're going to do. Like, come on, man. It's silly. Man, I have so many takes like running through my brain, and I got to be careful that I burn through them all. Because I have no clue if anyone else is joining me. Like I said, I did the work to try, but, oh, no. Dude, do I just not know Lone Depot? That's a bomb. Yep. 3-1 Japan. Oh, wow. That's not good. Kazuma Okamoto. I believe I got that pronunciation right. Fingers crossed. Second bomb of the tournament. He did hit that ball. He got great wood on that. Man.
Oh, my.
Deloaded.
Swing and a drive. Oh, baby.
No.
Oh, first of all, that clip. Ladies and gentlemen, that clip that was just shown, I'm going to walk you through how long ago that is for me. That's one apartment ago with a different pair of headphones. that really might just be it now that I say that. But still, that feels like a lifetime ago. That was me like a month into working for Diamond Digest, and I'm on year 3 now. That's a trip down memory lane. Because I think people now are a little used to this background, which I will say, I'm sorry to say, there is going to be a change at some point this year. You know, I am finishing my master's program, walking in spring, moving to new, brighter, greener pastures. You know, I'm applying for jobs, looking at all that stuff right now. It's very exciting. So I hope that you guys aren't super. I know I got my little tchotchkes back there. I've enjoyed this setup immensely, but there will definitely be a new one. I'm going to try to make it really seamless. So that way, you know, the weekly broadcast that we do here and, you know, any other live stuff, you know, the All-Star game, the home run derby, you know, other stuff like that we do. I'm going to try to make it as seamless as possible so you guys don't really notice I'm going to do it again because I really like doing this, the background change. I'm just going to try to make it where you don't really notice, like one week I'm just in a different place. But if you see that, I'll make a note of it. I might do a little, pick my camera up here, give it a little look around, give you guys a little tour. But I'm a little sad that this will be going away. But, you know, 6 years at college and 2 degrees, I'm ready to move on. So a little sad, but you know, 3 years at Diamond Digest, I got to have 3 different setups, right? That's not even true. I've had other ones. We have my setup in my actual house back in the Chicago suburbs. So you guys have seen me do this in multiple places, but I'm talking, you know, the home base is a little different. I'll be honest as well. I'm shocked the Rockies allowed. He's definitely still on the Rockies, right? I'm just like out of abundance of caution. I need to make sure Kyle Freeland is still employed by the Rockies. Yeah, of course he is, because why wouldn't he be? I'm actually legitimately shocked the Rockies even let him pitch. And not because I'm not making like commentary on the organization, but I'll pass some commentary on it. Dick Monfort. Like that dude just doesn't know what he's doing. And it just wouldn't shock me if he was like, well, you know, we really need him in spring training. Wouldn't have shocked me. Would not have shocked me in the slightest. Kyle Freeland. Not sending our best. I shouldn't make that joke. It's funny, though. A funny thing that I do want to talk about, I shouldn't say funny, it was very interesting to me, is I was watching one of the initial group play and group stage games with my roommate. And he's not like a huge baseball fan. Like definitely enjoys listening to or watching one like one afternoon, but he's not like me where, you know, I'm watching as nearly as much as I possibly can all the time. But this thing I pointed out to him is, I believe it was Japan, Australia. Now that I say this out loud, that's what I believe it was. And I said to him, I just want you to notice the differences in the plate approach and the batting stances of Japan versus Australia, and just to see the influences, that the sort of like cultural influences and stuff. Because I think it's like a little bit more obvious when you look at like Newbar and Otani aren't the best examples, obviously, because they both play in the States currently, but you can tell like the hat that I'm wearing, right? It's more that, you know, that arc. Whereas with Japan, it's not as protruded. Not as acute of an angle as like this. But if you notice, their hats do have a little bit more, for baseball hats, they do have a little bit of that more house roof shape almost, as opposed to this arch. But I think that's something that is really fun and important for maybe just casual fans or just baseball fans from other countries watching the WBC in general, is to see the like batting stances and how like Japan, obviously we saw like bunting in the Mexico game to like get a run in, like to get the runner over. Like that's not that we don't do that in the United States, but I think it was really, really fun to see like how different countries and like, cause they're not all from, but a vast majority of the guys that play for their country have either spent time in that league or they grew up in that country and watched like teams that were in those home countries, and just to see the overall environment and attitude and to see all those factors play out transitioning from group stage to knockout stage to the final was very, very fascinating. So it's a bit of a hindsight comment to give now. But the next time, which as has already been announced today, is like we're 100% bringing it back. That's from Mike Manfred. Try to pick up on that. Or if you watch, I know it's not COVID anymore, but during COVID lockdowns, and I was desperate for sort of any sort of live action anything. When the KBO, the professional league in South Korea, they were having games because of just they were able to have no fans and testing and all of that. It was still fun to see how the game was played. So, if you're willing to sacrifice maybe a night of sleep on the weekend, watch an NPB game, watch a KBO game, watch, clips from when they do like Dominican Winter League. Like, try your best to take in baseball that is not just the local Major League Baseball team that you root for, minor league, independent league. Because I know that there was a lot of discourse on on Twitter after the Edwin Diaz injury from Mets fans and other maybe more prominent voices in the internet sports culture. I'll leave it very lightly at that. I'll let you fill that in. It's a very close play, but I think he's safe. And I hope we challenge that because he looks safe to me. Maybe that Mookie bias is kicking. Let's see that. Yeah, he's safe. Way to beat that out, Mook. Yeah, my producer. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm referring to. There was just a lot of takes from, people that have my gender identity and are of my race going, why do we even care about the WBC? All it's going to do is people are just going to get hurt. We shouldn't even be playing it. And it's just so reductive to view. I think that, and if you're somebody like that, I mean, you're hanging out with us here, so clearly you at least have the game on. But I want to make this point like as abundantly clear as possible. If you're one of those people that is sitting there right now and you are viewing your enjoyment of Major League Baseball, you're enjoying baseball through the prism of Major League Baseball, and that's it. That's poor form. It's very poor form on your end. And I don't mean it. I don't want to be malicious, and I don't want somebody in the comments to come swearing up a storm at me right now. But I think it's really important for you to take into consideration that for Mike Trout at the plate right now, playing for the Angels is his job. That's what he does for work. That's work for him. And, I'm sitting here in my bedroom right now watching him. And I'm sure, you guys are sitting on your couch or you're sitting in your bed watching me have a conversation with you right now. Oh, I'd love to have that be my job. And of course we would love to have that be our job, but it's work. It's work. So when you have the opportunity to represent the place that you're from, and it's something that doesn't happen every year. I mean, every baseball league is different, obviously, around the world, but like, it's spring training. It's like ramp up time. It's these guys are showing up to workouts and they're playing half. They're playing 2/3 of a game. They get a couple ABs. Maybe they bat a third time. And then they sit on the bench and watch a dude who doesn't even have a name or a number on the back of his spring training jersey go out and take a spot in center field. And you're probably sitting there thinking, I could be having lunch with my wife right now. This is right when a month ago, this is when I was picking my kids up from school or picking them up from daycare. It's all those moments that when we're adults and we're living our lives because we work a regular 9-to-5 job or all that stuff, like you take that for granted. There is a very large sacrifice that is made by these guys, and the reward of being able to put on a jersey that represents your entire country. It's an amazing opportunity. And I just gave that perspective entirely through why you should support Team USA if you're an American. If you're from one of these smaller countries, like if you don't think that Harry Ford playing for Great Britain, when they won that game, the fact they got to auto qualify, that means something. That's real. And so I encourage all of you to understand that, and I'm sure that you do. I'm getting a little pastor in church. I need like a handkerchief to like dab my forehead after this. I just encourage all of you to think about it that way, that this is a very fun thing that they get to do. It doesn't matter how many people watch these games. It doesn't matter how many people are in the stands. It sure helps that the stadiums are full and the game is being watched by a ton of people. That's great for the sport that we all love. But you need to understand that for them, like, it's fun to just make a super team of people that share your cultural heritage and values, and you get to represent that. That's very, very cool. So, we're all hanging out here tonight for a reason. It's because we wanted to watch a really damn good baseball game. And that's what we've been treated to so far. Because I'll be honest with you guys. Cardinals played today. They played the Nationals. Did I watch some of the game? Yeah. I didn't watch the whole thing. Like, I followed along for some of it. I didn't follow along for the whole thing because their record is still 0-0 right now. So this was the thing I was most excited to get to today, by like a very wide margin. And by the way, that wouldn't change if Goldschmidt, Arenado, and Wainwright and Michaelis and I could name the other 15 other dudes that we let play for various countries. If they were in that spring training game, I'd still be tuning into this. So it's my hope and assumption that you guys feel the same way. And thank you for sharing that opinion. And, try to take the onus upon yourself that if somebody else that that's a baseball fan, but, regardless of the team they root for, Astros, Mets, anyone else that suffered an injury or not, if they're out there and they're, why are we doing this? Why are we having this? Keep all those things in mind. Also, I just love seeing meaningful games this early because opening day rocks, right? There's, they got Jackie Robinson Day. Like there are these sort of baseball holidays built into the calendar, but you don't get games like the Mexico-Japan game. I put in our work group chat at Diamond Dive, said, this feels like I'm watching a playoff game. Like this felt like I was watching game 7 of the NLCS. And I'll be honest, I think I leaned slightly more towards Japan because I wanted to see this be the final. But like it was so cool to have that feeling of like, oh my God, like what is going to happen? What am I about to watch? Like, is the levee going to break? Having that feeling inside me in March about baseball is phenomenal. Yeah, great point put in the chat. During spring training, once the starters are removed, I change the channel. I don't always do that. But yeah, I that's my point is like, I don't think less of you as a fan. The fact that you even watch spring training games to begin with, like I 100%, I don't think less of you for doing that. Like I think more of you as a baseball fan, if you even tune into a spring training game. The reason that I stick around is, we'll give a great example. Started 2022. I got really excited about this Brendan Donovan dude that was just playing really well in spring training. And I was like, this guy should be on our bench. He can play all over the diamond. This guy should be on our ball club. And then when he got called up about a month into the season, I got to be the guy on Twitter to tell my other friends that were Cardinals fans. I was like, see? I'm like, this guy's going to go places. And then when he does, it's a little like push the glasses up and be like, well, actually, I told you. But yeah, I don't blame you, dude. Like I said, there are games where I do the same thing. And especially I think this year where with the Cardinals, it's the battles for me are not like set in stone by any stretch, obviously, but just I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, just announce Jordan Walker made the team, please. Fingers crossed. that's about it. That's about where I'm at. Yes, I did, by the way, for this, bring 2 cans of RC Cola for the broadcast. I don't want any comments on that. I knew I'd be the only one talking. I knew I was going to get dry mouth, all right? That's the... Dude. I've seen Paul Goldschmidt do that before. Come on, man. That's 97 over the middle. You get punched out on 97 on the paint. Miss that down the middle. But, dude, you got to know. I mean, you can tell him by his face. He knew it was a strike as well, but throw the bat head out there, you know? Foul it off. I want to bring this up. So in the Baseball Barbacast, great podcast. Definitely get geared more towards, I think, more casual baseball fans. You're not going to get a lot of like biting analytics out of it, but I enjoy their banter. Their anecdotes are very funny, and I think they're great guys. I got to meet Jake Mintz a couple of years ago. Well, I was covering the Division III national championships in Cedar Rapids, and I knew that he like played at Wash U and stuff. And I saw I just kind of heard his voice, and I kind of went over and I was like, "I'm so sorry, man. Like, Jake Mintz is." I'm like, my Cespedes Family Barbecue. He's like, yeah, oh my gosh. And he like talked to me for like 15 minutes, like asked me, he's like, oh, this is the first like baseball event you're covering. And I was like, yeah. And like, it was a very earnest conversation. He sent me like a DM afterwards as well, just saying like, hey man, like it was great talking to you. So just great guys. Nothing but positive things to say. They had Stephen Kwan on. Oh, I want to say this was maybe a month and a half ago. As a guest. Great interview, by the way. Stephen Kwan, really interesting dude. Definitely a throwback player, but I think he's really fun to watch because he's great on defense and just like doesn't strike out. I love a guy that doesn't strike out. Big Stephen Kwan guy. And they had him on for an interview, and he said he's never intentionally fouled a pitch off in his life. Ever. Which I think is really interesting. And I don't know if other people find that as interesting as I do. Like, I played like a little bit of baseball in high school and stuff, and like I definitely intentionally fouled pitches off. Like, that was not in Little League, like, and I'm kind of curious to hear other like major league players' thoughts on that, because like I believe that's plausible in my head, because I understand his argument was basically like, think about it. When you're seeing a pitch come at you, your instinct is not going to be, I'm trying to hit this to have it not be a hit. If you've made the conscientious choice of swinging a ball, you're trying to get a hit out of it. That makes sense. But also it's like, and maybe it's just major league level. You don't have enough time to like make this conscientious thought in your head. But like, at least for me, I can also fully wrap my head around the concept of, oh, shoot, that's not the pitch I thought I was going to see. That could be a strike. I don't want to strike out looking. I don't know. I was really intrigued by that comment, though, especially someone like Kwan who doesn't strike out. That means that like he's not like up in there, like, because I've heard other players talk about, oh, I'm trying to fight that all, I'm trying to fight and I'm trying to stay alive. I've heard that conversation from guys that are also that have similar batted ball profiles to him. I don't know how many other people, major league players or minor league or whatever, share that same notion. We've got, for most teams, it was all backups or minor leaguers playing since starters were playing in World Baseball Classic. Yeah, the Cardinals sent 17 people. So obviously now we're at the finals where it's really, I think Lars and then the 4 guys on Team USA that we have. But yeah, at the start of the World Baseball Classic, it was like, dude, it's like, I don't know who this guy is. It was either guys that are on the like, it was a lot of like quad A. Like guys are like, oh, this guy played like 30 games for us last year. Is this only Carson in the chat? Yeah. Coward, hop on. I dare you. I double dog dare you. Doing my best. Pacing myself on the talking points, getting it through. Schwarber's going to walk here, isn't he? Nope. Dude, Middle. Unserious, dude. Unserious. I feel like a dad when I watch Team USA play. It's very like, I feel like I've got like I don't know if you guys have been able to tell. I have my arms folded for like a lot of this game. I think it's because of the stress, but it's off camera. But they're folded because come on, man. Let's get this done. Tigers had Erod, Javi, Miggy, and Scope. Scope is really interesting this year because he's like really, really good defensively, weirdly. Not weirdly. Oh, well, it's a little weirdly. He was so bad hitting. He was so bad hitting last year. And you know what he did? He is part of this. He is part of the he's part of the people that the people. I make it sound like this like hate group. But I think he was part of the reason why Riley Green's 2022 season seems so underwhelming. Because like, yeah, is the OPS like not great? No, it's not. It's not great. And there's definitely things he needs to work on. I'm not saying that he was amazing and no one knew about it for sure. But what I am saying is if you are a league average rookie and you're on a 95 win team, your contributions seem much more important than when you're a league average rookie on a 65 win team. And I think that he fell victim to that for sure. I think also you're hampered by a broken foot. You're building back from that. That's going to bite you in the ass a little bit as well. So I'm rooting for him. I got him in my Dynasty Fantasy League. So, like, don't get me wrong. I'm, like, very in on Riley Green being good. But, man, I feel like people just were so quick to write him off. And he had a productive rookie year. Is it world class? No. But, like, not everyone's Julio Rodriguez. I think that he also got bit by that. I think it was twofold. Because if you look at the top 5 prospects, I think going into the start of the 2022 season, sorry, like I said, no reinforcements. Got to keep it, chugging along for everybody. Darvish going out to the pen. Eyes emoji indeed. If you go back, I think, to the start of the 2022 season, you had in some form or fashion. So don't keyboard warrior me if I get the order wrong. But in some form or fashion, it was Julio, Adley, Bobby Witt, Riley Green, and Spencer Torkelson. Of those 5, you have 3 players that I think you can make the argument. I'll amend that. Within that top 5, you have 2 players that I think immediately prove that they're going to be the face of the franchise for a decade. In Adley and Julio. Julio got the extension that proves it already. Adley was like a 6 WAR player, despite the fact he didn't get called up till mid-May. Then you have Bobby Witt, who I think by just sheer where the team is at is face of the franchise right now. That's not to discredit him. But, like, stuff to work on. The defense was not fantastic, and he only had 750-ish OPS. I think my roommate just went to the gym. Which, like, I'm not trying to dunk on a 750 OPS from a guy that can go 30-30. Don't get me wrong. I'll take that 10 times out of 10. But in comparison to, 6 WAR, I think there's an appropriate gap. Then you have Riley Green, who I think was what I think a standard rookie should be. I think a great point was put in the chat here. When Riley returned, he was in April mode and everyone else was in June. I think that that's completely fair. I think that that's a completely fair assessment. Bear with me momentarily. I'm going to go to BREF right now, and I'm going to pull up his month-by-month splits because I don't think any one month really necessarily shocked me. It didn't necessarily blow me away by any stretch of the imagination, but let's see. Let's see a little month by month here. it was just inconsistent. A 730 OPS in June, 640 in July, 750 in August, and then a 640 again in September and October. But I look at that, it's really the months where he played the most that he had the most success. And another thing that I want to look at, if you want to talk about improvements to be made, after like June, like obviously, like I mentioned 733 OPS, but that's in a 10-game sample. Playing full time from July 1st on, right? We'll call it that. The OBP improves by 32 points and then 24 points. So I look at that and I say, listen, if I'll say the broken foot sapped the power a little bit, right? Because he slugged like 360. If he can get that slug back up to about 400 and he can OBP what I think his minor league numbers have shown he's capable of doing, which is around 350, 360, and he can slug, 400, a little bit north of that. We're talking like what Lars Nootbaar did last year. That's what Lars Nootbaar does. Lars Nootbaar gets on base and he slugs a little bit over 400, plays good defense, doesn't steal a ton, but he can. That's what we're talking about. So I just think he got bit is two-factor. And the other thing, like I mentioned, was Torkelson was also terrible. And so when you're talking about like, oh man, the Tigers rookies in comparison to the other 3 top 5 prospects in all of baseball, it's a little unfair. So now I'm not just giving him carte blanche, hey, don't worry about it, King. You did nothing wrong. There's adjustments to be made, but that's every player has adjustments to make throughout every in-season, throughout every off-season. So all that TLDR, I'm not writing him off. And I don't think that he's a league average bat because that's what he graded out to, basically. I think he's better than that. Comerica moved the fences in. It seems like we have a Tigers fan in the chat. I don't know the exact dimensions they did. If you do, throw it in there if you'd like, because I don't think it was anything major, but we're talking about, that could have been risky. Nice play by TA, making the adjustments over at second base. For Tigers, the whole roster couldn't hit. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what I'm saying. So when you have a guy who's actually hitting as close to league average, he is a 99 OPS plus, and obviously league average is 100. So, wasn't technically league average for all intents and purposes for this conversation. It was league average. When you're in a lineup where one notch below what league average is like, wow, your lineup is already in so much trouble. You can't. I'm not putting that on him. I think it's very unfair. It's just very. Again, you guys got to understand as well that I have him on my Dynasty Fantasy League team. So like guys like that, just like immediately. One of our guys that's normally on here all the time, Diego, he's a Giants fan. Talk to me about Thairo Estrada. I won't shut up for 10 minutes. I love Thairo Estrada. Can't defend. But he's got just enough pop. He's going to steal you about 20 bases. Oh, love it. I love it. Barely slugs 400. Doesn't even get on base that much, but like just gets results, And he's fun to watch. He's scrappy. I love a scrappy ball player. We got to get out of this. That's a strike. And a boy, Kyle. I'm rooting for Kyle Freeland in 2023, man. Whew. You told like 2020 me that, I'd have been scared shitless that we signed him in free agency or traded for him. Yeah, like we need a run in the next. We need one run in the next 2 innings, and then hopefully another. I don't know, man. It's making me anxious. The one thing I will say, I take that back. I was going to propose the idea that defending champions should be the home team no matter what in knockout stage play. But I don't know how I feel about that, actually. I might stick with that take. I just don't want it to come across salty right now because we're losing in Japan as air quotes home field advantage. I don't want to come across as though I'm like upset about that. But I don't know, man. I think I'll stick with that take. And I'm fine with that. There we go. Center moved from 420 to 410. Wall lowered in height. Yeah, okay. See, you get what, like, that's going to play. It's going to play. I'm not saying people are going to, I'm not saying Miguel Cabrera's hitting 40 homers now, but it's a few more bombs. And when you have a team where you kind of need that, that's important. Sorry, we see the light changing and stuff. Well, I can't reveal it. I don't want to put this out there into the. I keep utilizing the free preview that FS1 provides, but every so often I have to, re-engage it. My goodness. See, it's funny because we're not quite late enough into spring training. I believe that the last spring training game is the 27th. So we got a week. We're not late enough where like final rosters have been announced because like I'm very excited. Well, I don't know if excited is the word to use. I'm nervous to talk about either Jordan Walker playing in St. Louis or Memphis to start 2023. And what I don't want to have happen is I don't want to like talk out the insecurity of it with you all. Only because I don't want to be proven horrifically immediately wrong. Like it's fine, you know what I mean? It's fine to have the water cooler conversation. Like a great example, for one of my master's courses this semester is writing my thesis. So I'm writing my thesis paper currently, and my professor for the it's not really a class. It's just I have like a meeting with him once a week to sort of here's where I'm at research wise. Here's what I'm planning on having. It's just like you kind of set your own homework. As we see Ohtani out to the bullpen. I'm moved. So, anyway, he's a Cardinals fan. So, like the start of, since, the last, how many weeks is that? The last 4 or 5 meetings-ish where, like, spring training games have been on and stuff. I've been able to kind of shoot the shit with him over it and be like, oh, gosh, man, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen to us. Like, basically, I put that insecure. I swear, if he hits a solo home run here and we're still losing by a run, I will laugh. I mean, I'd be glad we get the run back, but like, please, like the dude's hitting 6th for a reason. There should be ducks on the pond. What's up, my brother? Keep grinding, checking up on you. I'm doing well. Doing my best. Not the best my voice has ever felt. It's not that my voice feels bad, by the way. Just a lot of talking. A lot. Normally, at least as well, think about like a standard broadcast team. You just got like 2 people. I will say I'm going to give a huge credit to people that can sit here and do this and play like an insanely like frustrating game. What's that game called? It's that game where you're the dude in like the cauldron and you have the hammer You got to like swing up. I think it's called Getting Over It. I can't imagine sitting in front of a camera by myself for multiple hours. Well, first of all, playing that game, period, I can't imagine myself doing. For the people that don't know me personally or have never interacted with me one-on-one, which, like, you're more than welcome to. Twitter handle's in the corner. I tweet about sports a lot. You know, hit me up in the DMs. We'll talk about whatever you want. Follow us, by the way. There's my handle. Now show all of ours again, please. Wait. Can I get the? Yeah. Oh, there we go. I can't sing. I do like a nice angelic reveal. There's our website. There's our Twitter, our TikTok, our Instagram, our LinkedIn. By the way, I've never felt more professional than finding an article by one of our great writers on LinkedIn. That's a real thing that happened. I retweeted it on my personal Twitter. It was our producer, Peyton. I know I gave my little stump speech earlier for why you should care about the World Baseball Classic. He wrote a fantastic piece about it. And I'm pretty sure I discovered it via LinkedIn, which, again, made me feel outrageously professional. But, yeah, that for those that don't know, I'm incredibly I don't have like a super short tolerance for patience, but I can get frustrated easily. I think I get long. It's hard to get me mad like long term, but I can get agitated. And playing a game like that would drive me nuts. And doing it in an environment like this where I don't have someone. I'm gonna give just a shout out to introverted people. I'm not introverted, but I know that from having friends that are, that feeling of you need somebody next to you to keep giving you energy when you're starting to not have it or it's starting to burn out over the course of an evening. I usually help provide that to people as a very extroverted person. But even myself, if I was doing something that got me really, really agitated quickly, I think I would need to have another extra. Honestly, it might be I'd have to have another introverted person next to me to be able to like be cool, be steady, be firm. We're all right. Because think if I had another extroverted person next to me, there would be just a slew of curse words getting dropped. Man, we need to run. We need to run because if we run into Darvish in the 7th and 8th and Ohtani in the 9th, or whatever they're planning on, doing for the 7th, if it's not Darvish, if we get to Darvish in the 8th and Ohtani in the 9th against presumably the middle and back of our order, that's not great. That is not great at all. Couple people saying hi from YouTube. Hello. Hilarious. I was just plugging the socials because you've already found us. Good for you. I just want, you know what sucks about this? And I'm about to give a very ivory tower complaint. And I'm going to acknowledge it out the gate. So don't be on me for it. As a Cardinals fan, having to watch teams struggle offensively in the playoffs, I've had enough. And here we are. Oh, Seti, man. Come on. What if Darvish in 7, Ohtani 8 and 9? Now, I read that they are only planning on giving Ohtani 1 inning. So, really hope that's correct because your version is even scarier. And makes me just incredibly nervous. Like a nervous beyond belief. Yeah, good God. I hope that's not the case. We just need a run. That's all we need. We need one to start. It just takes one. But like I was saying, definitely need a I would definitely need to have I think like an introverted person next to me doing this. So again, TLDR, I a lot of credit to people that can do incredibly frustrating things for people's entertainment, because at least what we're doing here is fun. We're hanging out and we're having a good time. But man, so another thing as well is I feel like I talk about this not every week that I broadcast. I like to bring it up though. I love when you stream the game, obviously, right? Like we live in a world of data collection. Sorry, you guys are watching me right now, which means you're probably going to get, baseball ads somewhere else. Sorry. But seeing when I was at home for spring break recently, obviously, and seeing the differences in the commercials that something like a Hulu or a YouTube TV gives my family, where it's just my parents at home right now, versus where I'm here in my apartment where like my roommate's in law school, so we're just two dudes the same age, is hilarious. Every single ad is just gambling, DoorDash, or like buy the next UFC pay-per-view. That's it. Sorry, our producer sent out a message saying like, hey, are there people are there people that are gonna come help me? I appreciate all the help, but I'm not drowning, in case you guys are worried. I'm not getting tired of talking to people. Oh, someone just said hello again from YouTube. Hello. You're not late. You're perfectly on time. Don't ever consider yourself late. The joy of baseball is that you can join me 2 hours into our conversation and we can have something insanely insightful happen to us for the next God knows how long. Obviously, with the pitch clock, I'd say about 45 minutes, but here we don't know. This guy makes me nervous. Murakami, I mean, we saw him hit the walk-off double last night. They just cut to that shift, by the way. I'm glad we're limiting shift. I'll put it that way. Shift ban is dumb because I think policing that's nightmarish. That's nightmarish. Is Ohtani on his phone in the bullpen right now? Oh, no. Okay. He's doing even more king shit. Just picking at his hangnails. Just like me, for real. But the God, that cited Darvish in a pen. This is what I mean, by the way. If someone is going to get out here and they're going to tell you that this doesn't have a playoff atmosphere, you got Darvish warming up in the pen for the 7th. Come on. Come on. Yes, thank you. My producer caught my trail off, which I greatly appreciate. Yeah, Murakami, great punch out by Adam, but he also had that absolute rocket earlier in the game. Teams can still shift in the outfield. That's exactly my point. And the shift limiting thing as well, I think it's smart. Like, the biggest complaint, I use this sort of I don't want to say canary in the coal mine example, because that means that I'm making a bad faith argument. But the example I always point to is that I don't want to see a third baseman catch a fly ball in right field. Like that, there are times where we would see this shift. You got the third baseman so hard, like, that's not ball. Like, that's not the baseball that people want to watch. If a guy hits it there, he hits it there. Great for him. But at the same time, like, People keep apologizing for being late. There's no being late, guys. We're here to hang out as long as you want. You can stay here for 5 minutes. I was going to say for 5 hours. I'm leaving once the game is over. So don't think that I almost said, "Oh, be here for 5 minutes or 5 hours." Don't put that on me. Yeah, shortstops will still be on the board without breaking the rules. That's a great point from Javi Baez the Tiger on Twitch. Sorry, I'm managing seeing comments from both YouTube and Twitch. So if I miss something for like a little bit, my producer will try to like help me catch it. But I'm doing my best. Oh my gosh. I've been trying to like just casually go for like a couple like scratches on my note. It's been itching all night. I don't understand why. So I apologize. You're just going to see me scratch my nose for about 10 seconds here. Ugh. But yeah, that's a great point. Thank you again for, keeping you can feel free, by the way, to just throw in, if you guys have any takes about the upcoming season that you want me to grade or pass judgment on, I'm more than willing to just hear some hot takes as well. I got nothing wrong with that. Sorry, reading some behind the scenes stuff. I am a little bit nervous. The pace of this game, like as it sort of currently stands, is very the pace of this game is stressing me out. It's just stressing me out a little bit because I don't think anyone's building momentum necessarily, but you guys know when you're a baseball fan, you can just sort of tell, like, if a game is going slowly, it's usually an indicator that teams have opportunities. The issue that you run into is when no one is getting opportunities and the game starts to roll a little bit. You love that when your team is winning. If we were up 3-1 right now, I'd be all for this game flowing like water. Unfortunately, we're down. So I want this game to sort of grind down to a halt, and I want to so we can bang some hits, knock in some runs, and turn this game on its head, because that's what's got to happen here. Like, we're running out of time. It's stressful. It's very stressful. It's a great pitch. That's something that, as a Cardinals fan, I think there's a great tweet from Foolish Baseball. I forget the exact wording, but basically it's making fun of the fact that, like, the average Cardinals starting pitcher is, like my dad's age and throws like 84. And then every reliever we have has just one like utterly disgusting breaking ball and also throws 103. I disagree throwing a pitch like that full count. That's not great. Something else that's really funny. This is like a really small thing. Anytime they cut to a pitcher, I always find it insanely funny when you can cut to them and they have like you can look at the guy they just showed for Japan and stuff. It's so obvious all these dudes got haircuts within the last 24 hours. Like, it's so obvious. And obviously it's because they know they're going to be on television. But it's very, very funny. My guy's got some wheels. We have a little chat there. In the World Baseball Classic, Ohtani took 45 seconds between pitches. They've already made an announcement. It was very cryptic from Rob Manfred, but he basically made the announcement that they're going to be there's like, we have some announcements regarding the rule changes. Now, what I think that's going to be as well, and that some of the players talked about during spring training, is that there's no formalized process for when you start the clock for like the 20 seconds, the 12 seconds, 8 seconds, whatever. Like, there's no sort of formalized process for that. So I think that's something that you're going to see them make an announcement on, hopefully. Because I think that the adjustments for hitters and pitchers to make are going to be streamlined a lot easier if guys are going to be able to have that consistency. Because like Otani's a great example, right? Like, so we had the comment there on Twitch saying he took 45 seconds in between pitches. He's obviously got to get that down. He's got to cut that like in about a third is what he has to cut that down to. So I think what's going to help someone like Otani or other guys that maybe struggle with the pitch clock. I think Kevin Gossman's another example of really talented guys that are going to struggle with that. You need to be able to have a standard time for them to work with. Like Luis Garcia, they made him change his entire delivery because of the new rule change. But the reason they were able to do that is because they had clear, defined rules of what constitutes as like starting a windup with the clock. And that enabled them to go, okay, so I just need to make a new windup that adheres to these rules. When it comes to time getting set, we saw Scherzer like kind of gaming it a little bit and stuff. They're just, I'm hoping that that's what they're referring to. And I'm glad that you brought that comment up because that's something that I think needs to be addressed. Because if you just leave it where, similarly to how if you're at a baseball game, like what constitutes as a hit and what constitutes as an error is at the discretion of the official scorer at the ballpark. That's something I actually like. I do like when that little bit of homerism squeaks in. Like if a guy's maybe, 0 for his last 7 or something, and he hits kind of a little excuse me ground ball, and the third baseman maybe, little bit of a Otani's jogging back. But I'm pretty sure that he brought it's because he has to hit. This is fascinating. So now he's got to put all of his hitting stuff on, which I'm sure is what he's joking about with his interpreter. Yeah, that's really funny that he has to do that. Ooh, good Lord. Adam Bot hit that dude in the head. Oh my gosh, backtrack. Oh, yes. When a guy's like, for his last 7, it's a little excuse me ground ball. And I like when the score operator is like, that was a hit. Or if it's the road team, they want to extend his suffering. That was definitely an error. Hello. Another hello on Twitch. And Kevin Gossman had to get rid of the toe tap in the delivery. Yeah, I was going to say it was something very specific with his delivery that I know he had to get rid of. And then with Luis Garcia, it's that rocking motion, which, some people really hate that. For those of you that are like just checking in and saying, hey, we are doing a little watch along and chat during the World Baseball Classic final. It's the bottom of the 6th. Japan is up 3-1. Typically, I know you're used to seeing like a quadrant, about 3 more people making fun of me a lot more. But joke's on them. They're not here tonight. So it's just, it's going to be, for now, anyway, it's just me taking your comments, taking your questions, taking your takes. So I appreciate the people that are hanging out and making me not just talk to myself the entire time. But yeah, Kevin Gossman, I think, I'm not like worried he's going to fall off a cliff for the 2023 season or anything. But I remember specifically reading that like Luis Garcia, his transition was like fairly seamless. Like, all right, I'll get rid of like less of the rocking and I'll make it a more consistent thing. But Gossman, I've heard, has like really been struggling with it. And I need to try to find the exact quote. Welcome to Watch a Man Google something for about 10 seconds to see if he can find it. Let's see. Yeah. I think he's just made multiple comments about how he feels as though he'll be like kind of watchdogged a little bit just because of his delivery and things like that. Something else that I will say I'm not super excited for is they announced they're going to like crack down on sticky stuff more, which you know, I just think that Major League Baseball should either do what they do in Japan, which is intentionally make it a tackier baseball. And I don't mean tackier to imply quality. I mean tacky in the sense of, I got a ball near me? I do. This is a ball from AAA baseball. But when I say tacky, I mean literally you put your hand on a new baseball and you take your hand off and there's a little bit more of that. I'm not going to do, you'll be able to hear me if I just make the noise with my mouth, but you all know that sensation I'm talking about when you grab something that it's not sticky, but there's a little bit of that. You can feel that sort of it leaves something on your fingertips almost a little bit. Just a little. I'm going to try to not have that immediately roll into my face, by the way. Let me try to get that set back up. No. Welcome back to good housekeeping. We're good. It's actually a miracle. I have like multiple bobbleheads up on this top shelf here. I'm honestly surprised none of them have ever fallen. They're very close to the edge. It's Bob Gibson and Keith Kachuk. If you're a hockey fan, you're going to be like, I remember that guy. With toe tap, umps wouldn't know when to stop the pitch clock. Yeah, that's a good point. Part of me is just like, should that even be at the umpire's discretion? Like, it almost feels like it should be similar to how when people make the argument for the pitch clock. When people make the argument for the pitch clock, they talk about, it's not actually like a robot umpire that's like, that like stereotypical 1950s cartoon, like beep, boop, beep. It's not one of those. It's not something that's silly. This game, man, is very tense right now. If you guys can tell, I'm talking a little fast because I'm nervous. I'm very torn right now. It's a 1-2. I love Lars, but I am rooting for Team USA, so I kind of need a punch out here because I'll be honest, man, if he puts this ball in the gap with Darvish and Ohtani pitching, I'm concerned big time. This has got to be a punch out right here. That could have been bad. I almost wish that the pitch clock was almost sort of just like a little earpiece, give the umpires a little beep as opposed for them to have to I don't know. I want them to be less involved in that process because that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? Talk about that. I think the fastest way to make it as seamless as possible is to make the integration of it. I'm just using like tech buzzwords. I'm so sorry. But to make it as easy for the hitters as possible, you need to make it as seamless during the game. It needs to be something not noticeable at all, unless you are literally in the batter's box, behind the dish, or on the mound. So I just feel like that's a conscientious choice that they need to make. But like I said, Manfred is going to make those announcements. Hopefully, they're encouraging. It's a big 2-2. I'm going to call this a little bit like I'm broadcasting a game. Forgive me. He just missed that. That's a big jam to get out of. He flies out to Betson, right? I believe we have 9-1-2 coming up for the United States. Angel would screw it up no matter what the rules are. At first I thought you were talking about the Angels, and I was like, I don't know about that one. Yeah, I saw a really funny TikTok. I sound like a dude doing a horrible stand-up. I was on Twitter the other day. But I saw a really funny TikTok. A dude intentionally sought out Angel Hernandez for an autograph. Give me one moment. That is sensation. My producer sent me a real-time quote from the actual announcers calling this game, and I just want to say, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back too hard here, but enormous congratulations to all of you. So you don't have to hear John Smoltz talk. Again, that's a little harsh, but Jesus Christ. It's just that very much I'm really of the belief that when it comes to being a good announcer, a good color commentator, in order to be a good color commentator, I think general rule of thumb, you have to have you can't have been a good player. Like I think Steve Stone for the White Sox, right, is a fantastic color commentator, and yes, he did win a Cy Young. That guy had like a 4 career ERA. He did win a Cy Young, sure. It's because it was like the 70s, and he was on a really good team and won the most amount of games. And I'm not saying he had a bad career. I just mean if like A-Rod or like Jim Edmonds does some of the Cardinals games, and you're John Smoltz, they're just not good at it. And I think the reason that they're not good at it is for them, when you've reached a certain level, when it comes to like being an athlete, when it comes to being a performer, I'd rather listen to Smoltz than watch Angel Ump. Now, imagine the nightmare scenario where you're listening to John Smoltz talk about Angel Hernandez. That's a great quote. That's like one of my favorite would you rathers about baseball I've ever seen. And obviously, like the claim that I just made, I'm not saying it's universally true, or if you are a bad player, that makes you a good color commentator no matter what. I'm sure that there are color commentators that aren't good. They were also just kind of average players. I just feel like whenever you have someone who's really, really good as a player, I think they struggle to understand that guys have I'll use a hitting example, right? Like if you listen to like A-Rod talk or like Jim Edmonds talk about when it comes to like plate discipline and like approach to an at-bat, you can talk yourself through as a color commentator, I think completely fine talking about understanding a pitch sequence, right? That's universal for a hitter. I think where they really struggle though is they struggle to not understand. I think Jeff McNeil's like a good example of this. Like a home run right now would be awesome. That's not Jeff McNeil's job. Jeff McNeil's job right now is to get on base. That's why he just got subbed into this game. Like it's 3-0. His job was to take a walk, because then we're getting to, he just took a 4-pitch walk. Then we're getting to Trout. Then we're getting to Goldschmidt. Then we're getting to Arenado. And I just think that there's just a certain level of talent. I mean this in like a very complimentary way. I just think when you have too much talent, you can't be objective about what a hitter is supposed to do. They, I think, lack that situational awareness, which is entirely what a color commentator's job is. A color commentator's job is at the end of the day to provide thoughtful insight during key moments. And I think that when you're too good of a player, you just can't do it. Because for you, it's like, well, what do you mean? Like, will you just do it? And it's like, right. But I'm watching, I'll use like a real world example. If I'm watching Nicky Lopez in the box, I'm not watching that at bat going like, yeah, he's probably got this. You know what I mean? I just think that that general rule, that I think it's a general that general practice of you need to be just like an okay player or like solid but unspectacular, and you're a good color commentator. Then again, aren't I just color commentating? And I didn't play an inning of baseball of competitive baseball after I turned 16. That's fair. So what do I know? I'm still going back to that would you rather of the Smoltz announcing or Angel umpiring. I'm sure there's a worse announcer. Oh, that's a rip. That is a rip. Producer's making an allegation. That sounds heavy. Not a real one, but one that I'm now going to be aware of. And I will share with you if I think it's accurate, viewing audience. Trout at the dish, though, like, this is the game right here. Not really, but, like, could be. Oh, wow. Wait, is that a foul ball? You're joking. Did he hit the bat knob? Oh, that's killer. That is killer. I thought he got hit by the pitch. Turns out it hits the bat knob. Trout? You got to tag up here. You got to tag up here. Really? Did we not advance the runner? You got to take that risk, man. That's not great. That's not great. Oh, guys, viewing audience, I'm now like, I hope that you understand that this is. I hope that you guys understand the position I'm now currently put in as a Cardinals fan. That's very public about it. That sounds like I have like a disease. If Goldschmidt and Arenado proceed to goose egg this inning, as Goldschmidt just waves at the 0-1, I'm not dead, but I might as well be because I'm never going to hear the end of it. So, yuck. I hope that we get the result that we're looking for. I have a horrifying suspicion Goldschmidt is going to strike out on within the next 2 pitches, though. Or an inning-ending double play. That is tragic. That makes me quite upset. Oh my God, man. I really hope that Arenado does something. Because if he doesn't, not good for me. Not a good day for me. Really the entire country as well, I suppose. But, you know. Yeah, I don't care for that. It makes me just yeah. So you guys are gonna see a little clip from one of our TikToks here because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I have to use the restroom. So once that runs, know that that's what I'm gonna be doing for about the next 90 seconds of my time, and then I'll be right back. It's not because I hate you all. It's not because I don't want to keep talking.
So
it's because
20 questions. Carson here has 20 questions to guess the player that's on my mind.
Are they alive?
Yes.
Are they active?
No.
Did they debut after 2000?
No.
Did they debut in the 90s?
No. I was about to say yes, but no.
Did they debut in the 80s?
Yes.
Did they play for more than 3 teams?
Let me look that up really fast. Yes.
Do I want to risk? I have like a crazy like guess I want to throw like already. Is it Ken Griffey Jr.?
No.
Oh, okay. Dang. Is this a position player?
Yes.
Is it an outfielder?
Yes.
Are they known primarily for one team?
No.
Did they play in a World Series?
Yes.
Did they play in a World Series in the 90s?
Yes.
Were they on an American League team?
No.
And now if you're going to go, it could still be a Yankee, but it's not. Was this person on the Braves?
Yes.
Man, this is Deion Sanders. It's not, but
Come on, man. That's too easy.
Sanders is the correct answer.
what? It's Deion? It
It
is?
is Deion Sanders.
Holy, wow. I didn't think I'd get it that.
The minute you said
Wow.
Braves, I knew it was. You were gonna say Deion Sanders.
20 questions.
Yes, sir. Am I kicking this off? Is this player currently active?
No.
Did this player play primarily in the 1900s?
That's what I like to call perfect timing. This is great because normally, right when I come back, there's people then proceeding to say things about me. I don't know, my headphones on. I can't hear a word. But yeah, talk about that timing. My hands are still a little bit wet from washing them. It's always a good sign. What just happened there? Yeah, the USA losing in the quarters. I don't know about all that. That's questionable. I'll say it. I'll say that's questionable. I think going into the tournament, like I don't say we got chalk because there were definitely upsets, right? There were definitely games where the winners were not people that I thought and teams that I thought were going to be it. Like Korea didn't even make it to knockout stage, which is crazy. Having said that, I don't think that is. I would have had this. I think I no matter what would have had this as my final. I probably would have had. I can remember how the bracket would have shaken out to a team from Pool D. I respect the desire to see a little bit of chaos. I'll put it that way. I respect that. This is a guy that's brought up in a lot of trade rumors, David Bednar. By the way, I should a good on-air thank you. My producer, always necessary, puts up with me and my nonsense. And really all of our nonsense whenever we do live content. But he weathers the storm quite well. And, very receptive to my needs. And I appreciate that. So thank you, Patton. Otani at the dish here. Take a good look, everyone. This might be the last WBC at bat for Otani. Oh God, Goldsmith is going to be that double play, isn't it? I hope not, but it might be. Something actually really funny that I do want to bring up is that sounds bad off rip based off the next sentence I'm about to say. So when Freddie Freeman got removed in the game because he had that minor hamstring tightness, not even a legitimate injury thing or anything, someone in our work group for Diamond Digest said, "Oh, he's on a hug watch, he got traded." And I thought that was really, really funny. Because realistically, he could play for Team USA, but I respect the fact that he plays for Canada. Someone has to. So, pool that was named Group of Death. Did you have them losing to Dominican Republic? Probably because they would have gotten DR got upset by Cuba, right? That would have been plausible. Okay. If you had them drop into the DR, okay. I'd have batted an eye only on the premise that, I guess really because it's Team USA because their pitching is nuts. Again, like I said, I feel like I'm in dad mode, clicking doing that thing, get my arms folded. Oh, who I actually hope is at this game because the dude's kind of funny on TikTok is the the Angels helmet nacho dude. Oh, I mean, that is a phenomenal play by McNeil or by Turner. Who made that play? Somebody white. That's all I can. Oh, it's because Anderson's out of the game, so that'd be irrelevant. It is Trey Turner. Man, that's a close play. That was so funny. My brain was like, well, we know it's not Tim Anderson. Got subbed out for McNeil, man. Oh, that might be the closest tie goes to the runner I've ever seen in real life. I think that's the classic wiffle ball. The classic wiffle ball play at first. Had them losing to Puerto Rico with the GOAT manager, Yadier Molina. People really slandered that move a lot more than the DeRosa one. And I was like, DeRosa is the way bigger slander, I think, for like just hiring like a former player manager dude. Because Molina, at the very least, like was very recently retired and probably had working relationships with those dudes and also was a catcher. You know what I mean? There were reasons. See, here's the thing. Had he gotten called out on the field, I think they're going to call him out. Had they called him safe, I thought they'd have called him safe. So, unfortunately, I think this is going to be a call stands, not a call confirmed, to borrow some football. This is taking a while, though. The longer they take on replays, the more sort of, the more intriguing it gets. Ohtani, man. There's a classic joke on baseball Twitter of, is Andrew Haney actually a good pitcher? Well, let's see here. Yeah. Call him the field stands. See? Yeah, exactly. There's like a great joke. It's like a Twitter thread. It's a like Reddit thread of, is Andrew Haney actually a good pitcher? And it's like moderator locked after 9,000 comments. Where is Ohtani going to sign, or where is he going to be playing baseball in 2024 feels the exact same. Like I know that like he's not going to play for the Oakland Athletics, right? But you make that phone call. You have to make the phone call. Somebody said if Wainwright was pitching to Puerto Rico, they'd know what pitch is coming. I didn't even think about that. Yachty probably has, but he isn't like, because if he tipped, it'd be a little obvious, but maybe he could tell just from that many starts. I always forget that it's not mirrored. If you look right there. This is me. I got to turn around. I'm sorry. If you look right there at those two, there it is. Those two guys right there. That is limited edition Budweiser to celebrate the battery start record between Wainwright and Molina. And I had to text my Nana to pick those up for me because they only sold them in grocery stores in St. Louis. So if you want a fun fact about me, I have Venmo'd my grandmother for beer within the last 6 months. I'm 23. And I think that's very funny. But it was worth it. I'm also a Budweiser enjoyer, so like I drank all of it. Well, I still actually have one left with Wainwright on it, and I'm gonna drink that one on opening day when he makes his start. Knock on wood, he's opening day starter. I think he would be because it's kind of arbitrary, but they're either going to do that or they'll make him the home opener starter because, duh. Ohtani's winking at the bench. I'm not saying it's over, but that's a concern. He's out here winking. God, see, I'm already getting people. making fun of Goldie for hitting that double play, dude. I'm already getting it. Oh my God. That's what you need. 6, 4, 3. It's not really because I'm pretty sure that was Arenado because of the shift, but that's what you needed. Let's go. Big talk, dude. Producer, please go look at our baseball talk and just see what I just have had to put up with. And I'm going to proceed to drop a little laser. Visor, nose, dude. The one thing that we didn't get, I guess the Arozarena home run robbery was similar to the Adam Jones home run robbery, but my favorite WBC moment is still by far that, well, that Turner Grand Slam is nice too. But that strikeout, throwout with Molina and Baez, because it's Nelson Cruz who was just dead to rights. It's that strikeout throwout where he throws that ball and Baez, like you can go watch the clip now if you don't believe me. The ball is halfway to second, and Baez is just staring at Molina, not even looking where Cruz is going to go, ready to catch and just pointing like, yep, got him, and just smiling and presumably talking shit and saying something, but just haha, doesn't even look, swipe tag, nails him. Unbelievable. And I know Javi hit that like swim move a little bit earlier in the WBC. I hope that dude gets his mojo back because good God, watching him, like, I think we always knew the regression for him was going to be a little bit more difficult to watch. You know what I mean? Like when the star burns that bright when you're 23, 24, you're going to flame out faster. But, oh, woof, man. It is tough. I need that dude. I need that dude to be, you know, I got friends that are Tigers fans. You know, ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This is not good. This is not good. And I know, right? We're looking at an infographic right now that says Yu Darvish struggled. Doesn't matter. It does not matter. Pedigree is real. Pedigree is very real. I like that, though. Mookie Betts struggling, I don't like, but Arenado, 8 for 23 bombs. Oh. I'm moved a little bit. Like, why does it, like, it's just, like, really funny that neither Cardinals player was smiling. You'd have got postered today? Oh, that's the Nets. Motivation of Javi having an opt-out following 23. I don't think he opts out. I think that regardless of the season that he has, based on the fact that he was what he was in 2022 and the length of the contract he has remaining with the Tigers, I don't think he'd beat it. And he might beat it in AAV short term. Like, I think he could beat AAV, but it'd be on like a 3-year deal. Hey, listen, if you want, oh, NATO just missed that. That sucks. You could tell. And he flies out to New Bar. That's really funny. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Baez is in with the very notable exclusion of Ohtani. All right, let me make sure I get this point right because I'm going to pull up potential 2024 free agents because I'm about to make the claim just period that I think that Baez is maybe the most intriguing free agent other than other than Ohtani. Let's take a peek here. Let me take a peek. Scherzer's got a player option. I don't think he opts out of that. Stroman, No, I don't think he opts out of that either. Votto, Kershaw, like we all know he's not a real free agent. He's going right back to where he's supposed to be. Maybe Bellinger because it's a mutual option with the Cubs. Like maybe that's a more interesting conversation to be had. But I think, yeah, after a quick look, a very quick browse, we're not streaming on Kick. Don't worry, guys. I'm not making other people download any more apps. People have had enough. There's enough apps in this world. No disrespect to Kick. If they'd like to pay us money, then we happily will, but probably not. I don't think. Well, they're not going to offer us money, so haha. Put it this way: there's no brand on this sweatshirt for a reason. All right, I'm willing to sell some ad space for this company. Baez be the number one shortstop on the market. Yeah, it's not just that he'd be the number one shortstop on the market. The other thing that you want to talk about with Baez is I'm just talking sheer, like, what are you getting? Right? Because, wow, Schwarber. If that was fair, holy shit. Something like Javi opt-out, please, 2023? That bad? I mean, I mean, the 2022 was not good. But I feel like it. No, that bad? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know. I don't know, man. Especially if I'm the Tigers, like that bad. I'll pull it up. Let me pull it up. Welcome to a guy Google's Javier Baez on Baseball Savant. And I'll take a walk down with you. Listen, man, I love just a guy stinky take. That's hilarious. Wow. Not good. Not good. I'm making a stink face looking at this. I mean, he cut the K rate down. That's good. 88 exit velo average. Yikes, dude. Oh my God, he slugged 390. How do you slug 390 and hit 17 homers? Look at June until the end of the season. Okay, we'll go to BREF for that. Baez, BREF. I love how it's like a very clutch moment, and I'm sitting here holding Tigers hands, fans saying, "I'm sorry, guys." Dude, I'll say it again because my producer wants me to hammer that home. That foul ball Schwarber hit, I think, unironically went 500 feet, but foul. Let's take a peek here. We'll go to the splits. Oh, dude, just put it fair. Schwarber just did it again, second deck foul. I beg, just hit that ball fair. We need it. Let's see here. June on. Okay. Well, he OPS'd 800 in June. He had a good September, October. But yeah, the July, it was his May that was really bad. Good God, a 430 OPS in May. Ooh. It's very inconsistent, but like a good September, October, a good June, a good April. Oh my God, he did it. He did it. I called it. Did I not say? I said, I beg of you, just put it fair. Bang, let's go. I'm sorry if you're wearing headphones. I'm so sorry if you're wearing headphones. Let's go. Let's go. That is what we needed. That is exactly what we needed.
Oh,
There it goes! There it goes!
Swing and a drive!
Kevin Kiermaier.
Look, we still got work to do. We need a run, and we got 5 outs to get it. You all saw that. That's going to get clipped and put on all of our social media in the next couple days. Pay our producer. I'm giving him homework. What we're going to do. Oh, my God. Oh, and now it's Trey Turner. You know what to do, King. You know what to do. I'm giving my producer homework. I want it cut where I want it says, I want the clip of me going, I beg of you, just hit it fair. And then I want to cut to him hitting that massive home run. And then just cut back to my reaction. Please and thank you. Everyone would like that. Wow, 110, 436. Yeah, that was. Woo! Javi has a thumb injury to begin the season. Yeah, he's not opted out, dude. There's no way. There's no way he opts out. Unless someone is like willing to like someone would have to offer basically, I think, the exact same contract, but on a playoff team. And I would ask you, let's run through the potential playoff teams for this season, right? Yankees, no, they got too many good prospects. They wouldn't do that. Blue Jays got Bichette. Orioles, they've got Gunnar. Tampa's got Wander. Trey Turner? Don't run to second. Lars has a cannon. Good. But team needs to hope he does. Yeah, AL Central, White Sox. I see the point about Boston. Trevor Story is going to play shortstop. Like, they signed Trevor Story to play shortstop. They weren't going to extend Xander. I think they did the song and dance of like, well, we're going to do our best. And if the price is, if we can just meet it, no shot. I didn't think that was ever going to happen. I think Trevor Story is going to be their long-term shortstop. AL Central, White Sox, I mean, they're for some reason moving Tim Anderson to second base. But their number one prospect in their system is, oh my God, Ohtani's getting loose. Oh my gosh. 4-out save. Ohtani, 4-out save. I'm glad you guys are here because it is getting good in Miami. Can JT put a little magic in it for his first team back home in Miami? The vibes have got to be immaculate right now for Team USA. They've got to be feeling good. AL West, it won't be Houston. Seattle, no. Oh, JT, it's high enough for a home run. Nowhere near as far. AL West as well. Angels, maybe, but they have like Zach Neto. Like, their prospects, they have a good shortstop prospect. Oakland, come on. I'm not even, no disrespect, but like, come on. Who am I forgetting? The Rangers? No, they have Seager. NL West, Dodgers are seeming like they want Gavin Lux to be their guy, which I get. Like, he's got enough potential. You run Gavin Lux, you give him the run. I know he's out for the year, but like, Diamondbacks, they could, but like, why? You know what I'm saying? It's feasible. Diamondbacks are weird enough to spend money like that, but I feel like that. Oh, Mullins hit the ball well. Just hit it, kind of directly at. This means that for the 9th inning, we're going to get Trout, Goldschmidt, Arenado against Ohtani. A 1-run game. Sorry, you said look at the NL Central. Even means playing third. Pittsburgh, no. They've got Brian Hayes and O'Neal Cruz. Cincinnati, maybe third base because they have Ellie De La Cruz, but they're going to give Spencer Steer a shot. And, they also have, what's that guy's name? Christian Encarnacion Stroud. That's another guy that I think that he might end up being a first baseman long-term, but still, that's another guy that's currently a third baseman that I think that they'd, give that run to. Milwaukee, they're allergic to spending money. Spending real money. I know they gave the Yelich extension, but like, they're literally going to trade Corbin Burns because they don't want to extend him. So, who's playing third in Chicago? That is an interesting question. You know who can answer that question? How much service time Patrick Wisdom has. Because if Patrick Wisdom doesn't hit free agency for like 3 years, they'd much rather just do that. Yeah, so Patrick Wisdom is not free agent eligible until 2027. So surely from a cost control perspective, as long as he continues to like hit 20-ish homers and have like a 730 OPS, they can afford to pay him. He's not great. I'm not saying Patrick Wisdom is like an amazing player, but I'm talking about you're trying to like a big thing that you need to think about when it comes to team building, right? Is like team control is a wonderful thing. A great example I talked about earlier. It's why we traded away Harrison Bader for Jordan Montgomery to give Lars Nootbaar a chance. Because Lars Nootbaar is not hitting free agency for 6 more years, or 5 more years, excuse me. Wisdom 104 WRC plus, and he was worth 1 WAR. Like, he doesn't even hit arbitration until next year. Like, he's making league minimum. I will pay league minimum for what he put up in 2021 at. Yeah, he had 2.3 WAR in 2021. I will pay league minimum for 2 WAR versus having to pay around 20 mil for what could be 3.5, 4. You know what I mean? It's a cost acquisition thing. Let me look at the Cubs system real quick, actually, because I don't know what I know, like, Brennan's always hurt, but, like, thank God, like, a real player is pitching for us, by the way. I love Devin Williams. There have been Wisdom platoon at first before signing Mancini. Yeah, but then they also signed Hosmer, and they have Matt Mervis as well. It's in their system, I know, for first. And, like, Matt Mervis, as much as I disdain the Chicago Cubs, I've got a little bit of a feeling for Matt Mervis. I feel like he could be a positive ball player. I'm just going to use MLB for the top 30. It's purely ignorance. I'm not saying it's not a possibility. I just want to make sure that I'm not giving like an unformed take. Outfield, Mervis. Yeah, they don't have a guy. They have 1 guy in the top 10. It's a shortstop that could move to third, I guess, if they wanted. Mervis is a dog in the chat. Those 2 lefties. Yes, but Mervis is righty, correct? Let's find out. I'm pretty sure Matt Mervis is right-handed, if I'm remembering correctly. Am I wrong? Oh, he throws right, but he bats left. I forgot that he did that. That's a good point. But my point being as well, though, if you're like, would Baez want to do that? You got to think about that as well. Like, Baez is going into it's an entirely different front office where you don't have those relationships, and like you got traded away, and like that shit does hurt. That matters to players. I don't know. Cubs are a potential. I'm fine listing the Cubs as a maybe. I'm fine with that. You go NL East, maybe the Marlins. The Marlins actually might be the only plausible example of this where I'm going to say for sure. So if the Marlins are willing to pay what the Tigers would pay Baez, even, I say that, but like even then though, if you're Javier Baez, are you going to gamble that the Marlins, I mean, look what they did this offseason. Like, their lineup, it's not the lineup. Like, from a hitter standpoint, it's fine. I'm talking like fine's generous. You get what I'm trying to say. That is paint from Devin Williams. God, I wish he was a Cardinal so bad. I'm sure he does too. He's from St. Louis, so. I just don't know if you would want to take the gamble that in the next 4 years, the Marlins are going to be definitively better than the Tigers, right? That feels like a big ask. I feel like they're in similar spots, kind of. I'll say kind of. I think they're kind of in similar spots, but I mean, Marlins and the Nationals, like they could, but like they're gonna be god awful for until Baez is retired. So he's probably not doing that. The Mets, they got Beatty and Eduardo Escobar and Lindor and Guillorme and McNeil and I'm trying to think. Yeah, the Nets probably won't. I was just thinking of like teams that like have shown a willingness to spend money that like would consider. Not like would consider seriously, but like, you know what I mean? Like Oakland's like not even going to rationalize it. Like if the Nationals, let's say hypothetically the Nationals, by some act of God, win like 75 games this year, I feel like they'd try it. That's it, right? Well, Braves, because the Braves just sent down Shoemake and Grisham, and they're just going to roll with Orlando Arcia to start the year. An anonymous viewer just gave the most biased take on the planet there in the chat. I appreciate you being here. Don't pin that on the screen with me. I don't want that anywhere. Like, thank you. I don't want that anywhere near my face. Don't put that anywhere near me.
Look who's on my TV!
Boo! Boo! Boo!
That laugh, dude. Anonymous said, no way Carson is calling takes biased. I'd encourage anyone here tonight to drop a quote if they think that I said anything horrifically biased tonight. I don't think I have. Just saw a bad take on Twitter that I don't agree with. I'm doing a little recruiting right now. Anyway, as I was saying, I think Atlanta, I'll float that in the comments. Someone feel free. I'll actually say that. If the Braves don't view, which is fair, Grisham is not a great defender. If the Braves don't feel that Vaughn Grisham is going to be able to help maximize their window in the next 4 years or so as their everyday shortstop, not that he can't be a valuable bat in the lineup, sort of rotating in left field, DH, shortstop, second base, it's sort of wherever he's needed. I'm not saying that. Braves, I'm giving Tigers fans an escape hatch. But, also the Braves haven't given out a real contract. And God knows how. I guess the Olsen deal actually was like a real contract they gave out. But that to me is probably the only plausible place. And that would have to be, and that's it's like low-key. I'm advocating for tampering. If I was Baez's camp, I would have to have the assurances that the Braves would offer me at least something similar in value. Probably less money. You're taking a little bit less money. I think he's already got a ring, It's not like he's ring chasing at 31. It's an interesting... If Braves, we get Javi versus Lindor. Yeah, I'm sure those two would be really at each other's throats and not, kissing each other. Those guys are boys. But yeah, I think that I'd give a stamp to that. I'd give a stamp to Javier taking his talents to the ATL under the premise that he would at least, because what does he have left? I'm talking about solely if he opts in. Would that be 3 years left on a contract? You could spread that out. I'm not saying you get that in AAV. Maybe, let's see here. Let's see. If he opts, opt-out available after 2023, it would be 4 years, $98 million. How old is he? He is currently 30. Let's say instead of 4 for 98. Oh my gosh, why are you stealing with 2 outs? I worked. But that's a 1-run game? Why am I saying this? I respect that. Trust the talent. You guys just watched me disagree with my own point live. Congratulations. The current contract has no trade clause also. Yeah, you'd still offer that. What I'm saying is, what's 98 divided by 5? Okay, if you're Javier Baez and the Braves offered you 5 for 98, or even 5, let's just say it's 5 for 100. We'll just make it a nice round number because they love to do that because they're annoying. If the Braves basically came to Javier Baez and said, you're going to take about a $4.5 million pay cut a year, but you're going to be playing baseball for an additional year, and you get to play for a team with a wide open World Series window contention, and you get to be our shortstop kind of guaranteed. I think that would move him. That would move him. But again, that's under the premise that he has I need a good season career comp. I think that is a plausible contract if he has like his 2021 season. That's an 813 OPS. The OBP is like not great, but it's like he has like a 320 OBP. Like, if he can demonstrate better plate discipline, if you can like, and if you make it like 5 for 98, 5 for 100, whatever, in that neck of the woods, and you lop in, the standard 1% to the Braves Foundation. And but like the no trade, Silver Slugger, Gold Glove, MVP, you throw in those bells and whistles, then I think it's plausible. But I don't. It's just a tough ask. It's a tough ask. It is a tough ask. Plus, Javi Baez the Tiger on Twitch. You have to change your username. You ever think about that? That might be the hardest part about all this. Please get the punch out here. A little excuse me. What a play. Nolan Arenado, the man that you are. Pirates fans, I respect he did that before. Pirates fans love to cry on Twitter. Brian Hayes was actually the better defender. I don't care. That's the only time where I'm like, make your team worth watching on national television, and then Brian Hayes will get the recognition he deserves. They're like slumlording it over there to 70 wins a year. It's like, what do you think? Hey. I know, but we needed the out. Someone in the chat called that routine. But I will say, routine play, that guy had wheels. Oh, and my producer literally just said that. Good Lord, that guy was fast. Yeah, exactly. He was fast. He made a routine play, not routine. I think we can agree on that. When you have speed like that, they're competing with the Reds. Let's give the Pirates some credit. I'll give the Pirates some credit right now. I said earlier in the broadcast, I unironically, I hope that team gets second place in the National League Central and makes the playoffs every year. I root for that every year. Second place, they can get second place every year. I root for that. Behind my Cardinals, of course, but I hope they get second place every year. Love the stadium, love the uniforms, love the players that have played for them. I got nothing but good things to say. I will say they're significantly ahead of the Reds, in my opinion. And I think the proof in the pudding with that, I'll take it all the way back during winter meetings. It was on MLB Network. I don't have like a link I can just drop immediately, but I promise you that this is a real quote. I'm not just making it up. Derek Shelton was getting interviewed on MLB Network during the winter meetings, and he was talking about how when you're going through a rebuild, there's a certain amount of there are certain expectations that you hold both internally within an organization and that you say externally to try to keep the fan base as happy as possible, to keep your ticket, to keep your season ticket holders as happy as possible. There's things that you do. And one of the things that he said that he felt internally that he thinks he's on the same page as the upper organization is that this year he used politer terms in this, but basically what he said is he thinks that they're going to be competitively bad this year. You know what I mean? As Ohtani enters the game, by the way, I'm gonna wrap this Pirates talk up because this is what every person in America should be watching right now. Point being with the Pirates, I look at the McCutchen signing, their first base platoon of Carlos Santana and G-Man Choi. I love that. I love their draft pick of Tamar Johnson. I think Brian Hayes is great. O'Neal Cruz is great. Brian Reynolds is great. Jack Sawinski's got a little bit of potential in there. Mitch Keller, if he ever figures it out. I like Rosny Contreras. I like Luis Ortiz has got some potential. The Pirates have a very good foundation. Endy Rodriguez behind the dish, by the way. Keep your eye out. The fact he already jumped Henry Davis. Whoa. Keep your eyes peeled on the Pirates. Is all I got to say. My producer's giving me the green light here to do a little bit of play-by-play, and I think that's what I'm going to do here because I think everyone clearly knows that. Hello, Lars. He just waved on. He waved to me, actually. I don't know if you guys know that. He and we're good friends. That's not true, but I'd like it to be. Lars, if you see this, let's be friends. I think we'd have a good time. This is Trout versus Ohtani. This is Godzilla versus King Kong. This is, this is what you dream of. Or this is an Angels fan's nightmare in 13 months. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, Angels fans, but it's true. This is either horrific foreshadowing if you're an Angels fan. I hope it's not, but it could be. But I think for the average baseball fan, we are talking about one of the coolest things we could possibly watch. We are talking about, we got to get there, obviously. We're starting with Jeff McNeil, which isn't nearly as fun. I'm like texting friends right now. This is going to be nuts. Can you imagine if McNeil homers? If Jeff McNeil ties the game up, I will, like a moonshot, I will fall out of my chair. Because that would be, first of all, just awesome, obviously, as someone rooting for Team USA, but that'd also be hilarious. Man, you could cut the tension in my bedroom right now with a knife. Oh my dude, Ohtani's throwing 101. Oh, dude. How can you not be romantic about baseball? How can you not be romantic about baseball? That's all I got to say. Oh my dude. It's just unfair. It's just unfair to watch him pitch. There's a great, I think I retweeted, there's Cespedes Family Barbecue, nabbed some footage of it, but the guy that they had pitching for Japan last night for Mexico, forgetting his last name. The dude that really was going heavy with the rosin bag. The slow-mo looked so sick. 3-1. This is why you subbed in Jeff McNeil, by the way. His job is to do exactly this, is to draw a walk. I'm sorry, guys. If I get a little quiet, please know that you guys are watching me nerd out in real time. This is really funny. Normally, I can just sort of let it sit because there's multiple other people watching, along with me. But, how do you hit that? Dude. The Trout walk-off at Ohtani will go nuts. I can't believe that we're going to get to see this. In March. This is something that, oh, man. Oh, I thought he pulled that down the line. I won't lie. Holy shit. I'm trying not to just be holy shit, but oh my gosh, man. I don't know what else to say. I don't know. You know what? Fine. I'm going to give an earnest attempt to try to call this, actually. But this right here, the moment that we're currently watching, every kid that has ever played baseball, this is that moment. This is that exact moment that you practice by yourself as a kid in the backyard. Jeff McNeil draws the walk. Wow. It was a ball, but that was a close pitch. I definitely could have been. He definitely could have gotten rung up on that. He barely. Look at that K zone. He misses by an eyelash. He wanted it too. They just cut to Ohtani. He wanted it. But a pinch runner for McNeil. Who are they bringing on? Oh, Bobby Witt. I should have known that. But yeah, I'm filled with I feel like I'm getting transported back into memories of me being 10 years old, watching, tossing the wiffle ball up to myself in the backyard and trying to just go yard. I'm beaming with a smile on my face. This is fantastic baseball. It's a great pitch. Just paints 98. It's not fair. It's not fair to watch him do what he does, man. Mookie's 2 for 4 tonight. I think it's so funny to say, like, Mookie, when he went to LA with the Dodgers and stuff, oh, that's no good. That is a 4-6-3 double play, which means for the game, it's Trout. This is it. Woo! This is the moment. This is it right here. Right now. Regardless of the outcome, regardless of who you are rooting for, we're about to watch baseball history. I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to, have an active voice. But just take a deep breath in and just the talent on our screens. It is I'm a nerd, man. I'm such a nerd. This is what gets me going, though. This is what gets me through my days. This is what gets me through my weeks. This is what gets me through life. Are these moments. No one. Look at all those phones out, bro. I don't see a single ass in a seat. Bro. Dude.
Oh, my God.
I know, dude. I like can't talk. Like I keep just sitting here smiling. Like right now, it's just me sitting here. Rudy in at the buzzer.
This is crazy.
Dude, I said at the beginning of the inning, I'm like, this is either horrific foreshadowing for Angels fans for 13 months from now, and for anyone else, it's just the greatest 3 minutes of our lives for the baseball season.
Oh my gosh, he swings right through 100.
Dude. Dude, Ohtani's about to throw like 103 down the pipe.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not joking. Like, if I'm Ohtani right now, I'm throwing a 4-seamer middle as hard as I fucking can. I'm sorry.
And it's gonna be 118 off the bat of Trout.
I want this so badly to be who can hit the ball harder. Or excuse me, who can.
Oh, he tried it. He tried to pump 103.
I told you, dude. I told you. He's going to rear up.
This is so crazy, dude.
I want to see the StatCast because I think I'm willing to bet that was 102.4. This is like when I saw Jordan Hicks throw that sinker 105, and I was like, oh my God, I just watched that happen. Oh, dude, come on. I think you're like half a second. So if some crazy shit happens, wait like a second.
Yep.
Oh my! Oh, dude, he rings
down. They go.
Angels fans are so conflicted right now. That's got to be tough being an Angels fan right now.
That's huge props to Japan pitching for that one.
That's Ohtani just unbuttons his jersey and it says like, see, Artie, I told you.
Yeah.
How much money did you give Trout? Yeah, more. I'm getting more.
Double it.
Yeah, double it and give it to the next person. Yeah, I want 26 years for $870.
Ohtani came into the game and pumped the 5 fastest pitches of the night.
Dude, I mean, you think the adrenaline he was under? Like, I had no doubt. Like,
101.6 was that. That pitch was 101.6, rounded up to 102.
Oh, dude, really? I thought it was. Yeah. Wow.
It's a crazy pitch to strike him out on.
Dude, that's disgusting. Because here's the thing: if that pitch is even a hairline to the right, Trout's still not touching it, and he could have gotten rang up.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's the other thing too. Like that pitch is perfect. It is a perfect pitch to throw.
Full count, and he just oh my.
Again, I know it's like we're all baseball fans, but again, it's worth repeating. that dude also hits 45 nukes a year. Like,
That's ridiculous.
we're gonna be like dead and in the ground, but like 200 years from now, I legitimately think that like everyone is gonna be like this in baseball. Like a century from now, I think that that's what baseball is gonna be, and it's gonna be a disgustingly good product to watch. We won't be here for that, but I think in 100 years, like just think about all the guys that are like two ways that they kind of just have to pick. I think we're about a generation away from less guys they don't have to pick, and we're about 2 away from like. I think it's good real.
And then you'll get new like couch managers on whatever social media they've got at that point, and they'll be like, "Yeah, back when the guys still drank beer in the off season, and they
dude,
they only threw 102."
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Jordan Hicks when he's like 38 is going to be like, yeah, you know, bit more of a soft contact guy, throws only 103 on the sinker. We're like, oh, cool. I did see a study that like human beings can only max out at like 107. That's hypothetical.
Yeah.
Like before your arm literally just turns into shredded chicken. Dude.
Well, you know what I gotta say, like you can't expect that pitching staff on the US side to hold Japan more than they did.
Dude, like I go back to it. I said it when I was talking solo for God knows how long. Because I was saying that I was like, you know, DeRosa, like, because like people kind of shit on like Molina being the Puerto Rico choice, but I was like, DeRosa is the worst option. Like Molina, like was playing 6 months ago. Like he at least like knows the dudes on the team.
Yeah.
Like DeRosa is like the dude on MLB Network now. You know what I mean? Like they're not. Yeah. No one in that dugout is boys with like. It's not even like a David Ross thing. Like if David Ross had been the pick, I'd have been fine with it because like he played with some of them hypothetically. I love how Ohtani's listening to Rosenthal to be polite. I mean, I'm sure he understands as well, but like, and it's like practicing English, but like, it has to be just like a politeness thing.
1 for 3 with a pitching strikeout and a save.
Dude, like I think that's what I'm saying. Like I think in a generation or so, like I'm shocked that the first two-way guys weren't relievers and like position players.
Yeah.
Like your starting shortstop that like comes in, like like Tink Hence got drafted for the Cardinals prospect. He got drafted as a shortstop and like a starting and like a reliever. And they've like stretched him into being a starter. I'm like, it makes way more sense for me to have a guy like, you know, having I don't know, like Nick Madrigal as like your bench utility infielder, and you have like a dude like he just comes in as like the defensive replacement in the 8th, and you have like a relief, you know, your starting shortstop just pitches the last 2 innings. Like I can foresee that being the future.
The only thing is, I don't know how many guys. Like you almost have to have better stuff to be a reliever than a starter. So I don't know how many guys can come.
That's fair.
And have that kind of stuff. You don't need that many pitches, but you need better stuff.
Well, and the other thing that I was thinking about as well, though, is like being a reliever is such like a min-max thing. Because like if you bake a guy in as a two-way starter, you need to like that's so much endurance.
Yeah.
Like it's way more plausible for me to be like, you're gonna throw no more than like 2 innings of relief a week, and you're gonna start 5 games a week at shortstop or second base. Like I can wrap my brain around that. Like you're gonna play every day, but it might be like you're gonna be out of the bullpen. You're going to have you out in the bullpen 2 times a week, and the rest, you're going to be in the lineup. I could see it.
Yeah.
Dude.
I got to say.
Future Cardinal / future Cub, Ohtani?
Oh, boy. We have reached the propaganda of the.
Dude, okay, Rudy, if you think that I have not, like, I won't ever talk myself into it legitimately. But if you think I haven't noticed, like, not even me noticing, Lars Nootbaar is intentionally posting a lot of pictures with Ohtani right now. Yeah, being like, you see, we're friends. We get along.
Oh, no way they're bringing out Ichiro.
Of course, he's got a summer home in Miami, doesn't he?
Right, yeah. He only played, how long was he there? A year or 2?
A year, but didn't he get 3,000 with them?
I think so.
I think he got 3,000 as a Marlin, which, like, that's something, I guess. It's on the Hall of Fame plaque, you know.
Either way, bring me all this. You know, NPB is sick, but
yes,
this is phenomenal. Bring me all the Japanese talent to MLB.
Well, yeah, I mean, the issue I think that we like have is like I as a baseball fan, period, I talked about this earlier. I was slewing people. I didn't say their name intentionally because I refused to give them any real shine. Slewing the people that were like, "Oh, what do we even play in the WBC for?" And I'm like, I was on my soapbox. I'm like, go watch a KBO game. Go watch an NPB game. Go like watch Dominican Winter League and like watch like Dominican Winter League is literally an exhibition, and it'll be like some fat, out of shape dude that hasn't played organized ball for like 4 years hit a walk-off homer and like talk shit to like Devin Williams. And you're like, how did he just do that?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what Dominican Winter League is. And you see like Vlad Guerrero, like jersey untucked with a backwards hat on, like get out of the dugout and start yelling at people. You got to watch that. Somebody said when DeRosa retired, most of the team just got drafted. Yeah, exactly, dude.
Yeah.
DeRosa was shilling with a bad haircut on MLB Network. Oh, wait, no, that's Eric Burns. He's the dude shilling on MLB Network with a bad haircut. That's bad.
Yeah. Well, so you know what I'm excited to see from this game is I saw something that said Japan, maybe it was like previous Japan games in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, dude, the viewership.
Watched games ever. This could be the single most watched baseball game ever.
So I think
the MLB game that came closest is the 1980 World Series.
Which like that was like the Phillies were in that.
The 1980 World Series was Phillies Royals.
Well, I almost said as a Rudy fan, Rudy. As a Royals fan, Rudy, I'm sure you're there for that propaganda. So the exact thing you're talking about is from Baseball Doesn't Exist, which great YouTube channel, great Twitter follow, by the way. I will plug them. It's Japan versus Korea, Japan versus the Oryx Buffaloes was 36 mil. Japan versus Korea was 55 mil. Japan versus
Italy,
this
year, right? That's
this year. Japan versus Italy was 62.5 million. Japan versus Italy.
Everyone loves watching Royals. I don't know. It's Vinny P and Nikki.
I was gonna, yeah. Well, and what was I got? Sal Frelick hits like leadoff for them, right? Or did he's like one of the Brewers' top prospects? Like Rizzo's didn't play for them.
No,
that's because his back is done. But
like the Royals guys weren't their only major leaguers. I don't think.
No. Like I said, like, but like I'm saying is like they had some like prospects in there as well. Yeah. They should just like, you're tan enough and have dark hair. You're playing for Italy. Like, I love
the Israel strategy.
Yeah, they're like, we need some propaganda, so you're gonna play for Team Italy. Dude,
hey, better current / former major leaguers than the Czech Republic got. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, for the viewers, the reason a noted Eric Sogard hater, which is like fair. Like he's that perfect. I was talking about this earlier. How I was like, typically the only way for me to like really hate a player is I was like, if you're like the Brewers or the Reds, I like have legitimate disdain for you as a ball player. Like Ryan Braun, sheer hate. Like I don't like. I get him off my TV. But I'm like, every once in a while, there's that perfect cross section of like a player that's like, they're not noteworthy. They're just like Rowdy Tellez, I think, hits like 950 against the Cardinals. Like, I swear to God, every time I watch him play against the Cardinals, he gets a hit. I hate Rowdy Tellez. Eric Sogard, he's in that crosshair. We also play for the Cubs.
Yeah, no, Sogard, I think, is my least favorite player I've ever seen play for the Cubs.
Wow.
Just like...
Period. No one else.
Yeah.
Who else is on that hatred list, though, as a Cub? Because that's a tough... Because to be because Matt Carpenter, for example, like Carter's horrible, and I slewed him for like a year. But my overall I still appreciate the fact of what he did for my ball club. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, there's not many guys that we like committed a lot to and that were not also involved in 2016.
Yeah. Who was that dude that started Tom Zelensky? Was that his name? He started like a WBC like elimination game. Because they were like, oh, we have two major leaguers like starting. I think it was a Team USA game, wasn't it?
I don't know. I missed this.
I'm gonna have to pull up the Cubs 2016 B ref, and his name is Rob. Oh, for Canada, it was Rob.
Rob Sistrusny,
yes.
Yeah.
Who pitched? Did you know that he pitched in 2022 Major League innings for multiple teams after not playing? So that's a smart guess. It's the Mets and the Angels.
Oh, okay. Oh,
dude.
Okay, I maybe could have pulled the Mets.
Dude, this guy's BREF is nuts. 2016, 2017, 2018, like throws like 15, 20 innings for the Cubs a year. Like clearly like back end bullpen / we're getting blown out.
4A,
guy.
4A, yeah.
Yeah. Nothing in 2019. Nothing in 2020. Nothing in 2021. And then, I mean, it's only 4 innings, but like multiple teams gave him major league innings.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And like the Mets were like in a division race. Like they gave he was pitching.
I mean, you want to talk about teams that ended up running into like severe needs of pitching help. It's the Mets and the Angels.
That's fair, but like that's crazy.
That is crazy.
Despite the fact that he has pitched in 4 separate MLB seasons, has somehow managed to accrue 0.1 MLB service years.
Oh, that's
he's not free agent eligible. When do you think he's free agent eligible?
And like, oh my God, it's like 2029 now.
It's 2029, yeah. It's so funny. This dude won a World Series. That means that he won a World Series, and then 13 years later, he'd be eligible for free agency.
If he suddenly became a full-time major leaguer at what, like age 31?
He turns 31. Actually, happy early birthday. He turns 31 in 5 days.
Okay, yeah.
Good for him. Happy early birthday, buddy. Congratulations.
Hey, 6 more years. If he's still pumping it at age 37, he can hit free agency.
Is he like, I want to know if he's like employed anywhere, you know? What's he up to? That's a good question. Like if multiple teams gave him a look. Oh my gosh, this is great. Welcome to a little bit of trivia. Okay, so he does currently have a contract. He signed it in December. It's a minor league deal. Who do you think it was with? I'll give the hint and say not a good team. So I'm basically asking you to guess the favorites of the dog shit.
Not even remotely good. So like, I don't know. He could totally be like a very obscure A in
That's always, I think that's the immediate go-to. He is currently a Pittsburgh Pirate.
A Pirate. Okay. My next guess was Nationals. So
does he? I'm pulling up. Is he like on their 40 man? Because he signed a minor league deal.
There's no way he's on their 40 man.
Dude, you're telling me that you're telling me that Mike Burrows is a better ball player?
He's probably not 31 years old.
They got a dude on their 60-day IL, still on their 40 man. You can take him off of that, brother.
Yeah, add the Sistrusny. What are we doing here?
Yeah, dude, give him his run. I'm buying the jersey, dude.
I'm telling you, they can add him to the 40 man and DFA him again at will. Nobody's buying.
That's what I'm saying, dude. You could burn through your options, like burn through them. Did you see they sent Endy Rodriguez down? Like, dude, what? Like, you have to try, dude. You traded for G-Man Choi and signed Carlos Santana. Like, clearly you're trying to at least be competitive this year. Like, everything I've read about the Pirates is they don't think they're going to be a winning team this year, but they think they're going to be like competitively bad, which great. Fantastic. I love when teams try.
Royals type beat.
Who are you going to send down? Like, bro, you're going to give like Henry Davis apparently stinks. Like, who's their backup catcher going to be? They have 2 on the 40 man, and they sent down 1. You can't give Austin Hedges everyday at bats. You cannot, like ever, but especially in 2023.
Yeah.
Do you know what his OPS was last year and 294 at bats.
Austin Hedges.
What do you think the first digit is? Let's just
5?
start there. No,
It's a 4.
it's a 4.
Holy moly!
You know, dude, he'd have 489 OPS.
Oh,
Which, like, oh god, dude. I said this about Javi Baez as well. Like, he hit 7 homers. How do you slug? What is that? Hold on, quick math. He slugged 250 with 7 homers. How do you do that? Shouldn't that not be mathematically possible? Because if you hit a single every single time, it's 250. So how is he slugging 248 with 7 homers?
That's all he hits.
I'm going to plead ignorance and say I don't know how that's mathematically possible. Because if you got a single every single at bat, you'd slug 250, right?
No, you'd be slugging 1,000.
Oh yeah, because it's over. My bad. I'm thinking. I guess that's gross. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Ew, dude. That's
All
so
right.
gross. Thanks for coming on right at the end, though, dude. I appreciate it.
Heck of a game to run.
Dude, 64th percentile pop time, 76th percentile framing. That's like pretty good. That's not even elite.
Yeah, no, I would have told you he's like 99th framing, but
right, like that's what you're expecting. You're for sure expecting, dude. This home run spray chart too. It is squeakers.
Really?
Dude, I mean, yeah, like the farthest home run he hit last year was off Sonny Gray. It's definitely a no doubt 105 off the bat, but it's 406.
Okay.
I think there's I'll count that as a real home run.
Yeah, so he's got at least one up there.
I'm gonna hit the classic outro. Thank you for hanging out, everyone. We were up to like 8 viewers at one point.
Pretty
Slow
sweet.
and steady wins the race. You can find our website at diamond-digest.com. Our Twitter, diamond_digest. Our TikTok is just at Diamond Digest. And our Instagram is diamond.digest. Because the key to blowing up as an internet-based company is consistent social media handles. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can for general nonsense and a lot more baseball as we're ramping up here. Rudy, are we still working on being more active on Twitter, or we got to start that over? We're starting it over again.
We're running it back.
We're running it back. So if you want to follow Rudy's journey to being more terminally online and playing slightly less Rocket League, because I have him on Be Real and I know that that's what he does, you can follow him on Twitter underneath. Did I forget to plug anything? You can find us usually on Sundays. Usually there's that handsome guy and 2 more of us, but did I forget anything? I think I got it all.
No, I think you got it all.
All right. Peyton, feel free to play our outro and take us home. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Good night.
Thanks, everyone.
My God, man. That game.
I'm so upset I missed it. I was like, okay, I've got this 2-hour rehearsal smack in the middle of.
Dude, I was saying, like, it just had such a aren't you forgetting something?
Go baseball.
Go baseball. Thank you. I asked. I gave the qualifier.
I hope that's it.
I hope that's it.
I'm
Follow us on LinkedIn and
here.
Facebook and YouTube. And